Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. Back again for the same show that we've done, I don't know, 60 times this season already. Easily 60 times. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl to my right. Paulie is our executive producer, handles our YouTube stream as well. You can watch us on YouTube. Don't know why you would, but you could. You can see this giant ingrown hair that's like has its own heartbeat on my face.
Look at that.
Look at that thing. You see it? God, it hurts like a son of a bitch, too. Disgusting, repugnant, repulsive. Paulie does a great job for us. Benjamin Higgins also does a great job for us. He's on my left. We are in all black. We are in mourning. I like this bit. It started off as not a bit. We just did it on accident. Then it's like, well, they lost again. I have a lot of black shirts. I can do this. I can do this all season long.
I've got
most of my wardrobe
a week's
is black.
worth. Yeah,
most of my wardrobe is black. It's allegedly slimming. So
you and I use the same brand of shirts, and I get a pack.
We also use the same thought process.
Right,
Of like just wear black when in doubt.
If I get a pack of 5 shirts, 2 of them are black at least.
And this is it. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. Your numeric estimation skills are a little wonky, though.
How so?
Well, you said we've probably done the show 60 times this season.
Right.
I mean, they've lost 53 games in total, and many of those have come on like weekends and days where we didn't have shows. So I can't say that we've done this show 60 times. It just feels like we've done it 60 times.
Yeah, I mean, I think even the it's weird about this season too is the winning shows are always the same also. Right? Like, you know what there hasn't been a lot of this year is like cool moments to come in and really
True.
or like crazy ass plays or fights or anything. It's just really been a very mediocre season.
I mean, we'll get into the game, but it's either been solid, comfortable wins,
right,
that don't give you a lot of, hey, what an amazing comeback, what grit, what clutch, home run, walk off, what amazing thing that happened to the Padres.
You guys remember
night.
when we used to have fun like this?
Let's go San Diego.
Yeah. Those were good times.
Walk-off wins like last season, magic moments, or most of the losses have been excruciating, agonizing, and we've had plenty of stuff to discuss on the losses. It's like the decision that Bob Melvin made or didn't make, the clutch situation where someone didn't come through, the mind-bogglingly bad performance from a guy you wouldn't expect it from. That's what this is. The sub-theme of today's show will be from Yu Darvish's just awful outing last night.
Diarrhea on the mound.
It's just awful outing last night for the Padres when they could least afford it. When you've got coming home in front of a sellout crowd, it's his bobblehead night. You've got, everything should be feeling good. You get a leadoff home run. Everything should be feeling good for the San Diego Padres last night.
I thought after that, I thought we were winning 14-0. I really did. I went, oh my God, that's exactly how you want to start that.
Leadoff home run. I go, all right, here we go.
There we go.
Second half, baby.
Yeah,
here we go.
The second half starts now.
It's on.
Yeah, we'll get to all that. My 2-year-old's potty training, and his pants often look the same at the end of the day, like Yu Darvish's probably did after the game last night. Bob Melvin's too. My beloved Bob Melvin's going to be in the crosshairs a little bit today. Certainly, it was a tough one, man. Tough one. I tried last night to do something I had not done. I turned it off after the 8th. I turned it off. I said I said nothing would make me happier than to wake up in the morning and have the, oh my God, best comeback ever. And I would come in here and say
8 texts. Woods, where are you?
And I would come back. I would come here tomorrow and say, I missed it. I went to sleep. I was absolutely gassed last night and was lucky to even make it to the 8th. But I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this right now. I said, I'm going to give it a chance and maybe they'll do some late inning walk-off heroics. No, not close. So.
Had a couple of those in the last week or so.
What?
Shutting it off early.
Oh yeah, shutting the mother down a little bit. Listen, the show is my priority, and obviously, and I big news though for me. I've been on the CPAP for a while, about a month, I'd say. It's not gone great. I do put it on every night. I have been trying. I didn't just try it twice and throw it away. So I put it in. I've got the nasal pillows. They go up my nose, and I put it on the very, very sexy Spanish fly type CPAP that I'm wearing. My wife, I have to just push her away all night. She's constantly like trying to grab me. And so I lay there. And last night I was really tired. And so I turned on my side. The pillows felt fine. I slept from probably 9 to 3:30, which is about an hour earlier than I get up, depending on the day. And I finally at 3:30 ripped it off, but that's the longest I'd slept.
Very
with
nice.
it. And I feel pretty good.
Just think about, it took a while for you to establish other habits, and it's just the same thing. It takes a little while to get used to and establish the habit of sleeping with the CPAP machine on. But once you do, and I would say if you get in 6 hours and then you take it off, I think you're doing just fine.
Just fine.
And then you've gotten good sleep, and that's what the purpose of the CPAP machine is. I do that sometimes too on the weekend, especially when, oh man, I just slept 6.5 hours. I can still go back to sleep, but I'm done with it tonight.
Yeah,
now
100%.
I can just lay here and see how the rest of the night goes. But yeah, good for you, Woods.
Thank you. Very, very excited about that. Want to be around for many, many years to come to continue to watch this baseball team rip our city's heart out. Another sellout at Petco Park last night. The numbers were bigger than there's that magical sellout number. Hey, 41,000 sellout. I saw Sammy tweet it was like 43,000 there last night. So they're packing them in on a Monday night against the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't know about you guys. If we were doing a show in the middle of Petco Park and we were doing it for 4,000 people, I'd be pretty nervous and excited.
Now multiply it by 10.
43,000 people. I'd be like, hello, my baby. Hello, you would get the best out of me every effing time. Period. Everything. I'd be like, you guys want to see my butt? What do you want to see? I'll make my wiener around. What do you want? You would get the best of me.
That might not be the best, though. Maybe you think you're giving the best, and it ends up being pretty bad because you feel so much pressure to put on a good show.
Well, I tell you what I wouldn't do.
That you put on a bad show.
No, I don't want to hear about pressure anymore. What I wouldn't do is this. 43,000 strong. Come to watch Ben and Woods tonight. Fall asleep in my chair. Be on my phone texting. That's what I wouldn't do. And that's what it looks like every time these guys play at home. What is happening? I love that last week, Tommy Pham, and our buddy, Sarris wrote the article about, oh man, it must be tough to hit at Petco Park with the Ivy. Carlos Santana, 77 years old, comes in, is hitting the ball all over the ballpark. No problem for the Pittsburgh Pirates to do it. Oh my God, this team is going to give me a heart attack. A heart attack. I was watching that game last night. I was so mad. My wife does the thing. She gets in bed and I'm watching the game flat on my back. She sticks her foot over, meaning rub my feet. I go, no. And she goes, oh. There was not happening last night. And then I didn't talk to her till this morning. She rolled over and went to sleep. And then this morning I was like, oh, hi, sorry about that. Yeah, I was just not in the mood. It was a really, really crap game. And I just wonder how many more of these crap games can we put up with. We've got 61 games to go, Ben. And I heard Coach make the point yesterday on his show that this is remember the 60-game season? This is the sprint. And again, all the dumb teams in front of us keep losing as well. So it's just, we wake up this morning, guess how many games back of the wild card we are? 6. Just like yesterday. I mean, we didn't really get hurt that much, but we're just not making any ground.
3-4 games back.
No doubt.
If you just take care of your own business.
Took care of business in last week.
You just can't do it.
These are all opportunities we're going to look at down the road.
Because now you know what's going to happen. They're going to win 8-1 tonight, and everybody else ahead of them is going to win.
I would almost bet my car on it.
$10 bet.
I almost would bet my car that the Phillies, the D-backs, the Dodgers, they all win today. I can almost bet my car.
Can we parlay a $10 bet? Padres win and stay 6 games back.
I mean, if there was a bet to be made, I would take that. Easily. You're right. They'll go out and dominate tonight. And all of those friggin' teams will win. And tomorrow morning, we will sit here at 6:10 and 55 seconds and go,
oh, are we sellers or buyers? I don't know.
Padres are 6 games out of a wild card again. I'm telling you, you got to laugh to keep from crying, man, at this point, because it's just staggeringly bad.
Oh, man. Is there anything else we can talk about in Foreplay?
I mean, I wanted to talk about yesterday. I wanted to talk about school supplies. We're in that kind of deal where, God,
I love school shopping.
Bo's starting kindergarten here in a few weeks, which is mind blowing. I mean, Bo, the cool thing about this show and me being a dad is that Bo was such a tiny baby when we started. And so as our show has grown, so has my son. And it gives me, I always think about like
first time I met you,
Colicky
first
Bo.
meeting, he was 6 weeks ish.
Colicky Bo, not sleeping, screaming throughout the night. My first foray into sports radio with my own show. I'd filled in and stuff before. It's a very cool thing to look back at. It really is. The kid has grown up with this show. As we've grown, so has he. And that little dude is starting kindergarten. And my wife already bought him like his backpack and his lunch. Bo is he's very flashy, by the way. His backpack is gold. Like, he's not messing around. I go, that's what you did. I'm like, when I was a kid, I kind of just wanted to fly under the radar a little bit. Might surprise you guys, but I did. I was like, I'm the swag god legend, and it has this big gold backpack. So we got to get all this stuff for kindergarten. It's pretty daunting.
Is there a lunchbox purchase? And if there isn't,
yes, it's gold that matches the backpack.
I want to know. You guys remember like your favorite lunchbox?
Kiss.
Growing up, you had a Kiss lunchbox.
Yep, for a time. I had a Scooby-Doo lunchbox for a time.
Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
Fun. Paulie, any lunchbox memories?
Wasn't a big lunchbox guy. Usually had lunch at school.
Yeah. The hot lunch, as they used to call it, which gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
But
I did have
just get a hot lunch.
Batman and Teenage.
I mean, even in
Turtles.
elementary school, like way back, like early, because everyone, at least when I was growing up, everyone brought their own lunch. We didn't have a school lunch program necessarily.
It was probably 50-50 on kids that bought lunch at school, even in elementary school, and kids who brought their own lunch.
Well, elementary school lunch sucked. It was terrible.
It was like $2.50.
Yeah, but it was terrible.
Breakfast.
It was across the board
lunch.
terrible. Then you got to middle school, and they had vending machines, and you could get a Coke, and you could go get. They had like, hey, come to our baked potato bar.
That was a game changer.
Game changer. You're like, I've arrived. I'm an adult. I now can go get a soda if I am so inclined. I can get a candy bar. I can get a. Even
the cafeteria is more like almost like not buffet style,
yeah,
but
like
you had the option.
Yes. Elementary school was not. You walked up, they plopped it on your plate.
And we got a monthly calendar, and we knew exactly what was for lunch. You're like, oh, sweet.
Remember that
next Thursday, square pizza day.
Yeah.
Oh, Tuesday, corn dog.
Why did we love the square pizza? It tastes like Bud. It really was not good. I can taste it right now. It's making me gag.
Then my elementary school was K through 6, and 4th, 5th, and 6th graders had to rotate doing dish duty. You had to help out in the kitchen, or not just dish duty, but like you would help serve.
Oh no!
Somebody would help clean.
Oh, we never had that. Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
that's amazing.
I'm about to share some more insight into Ben Higgins that you haven't revealed in the last 5 years.
I got made fun of for having caviar in my lunchbox.
Lobster thermidor and filet.
I never carried anything to school for lunch other than an absolutely plain brown paper sack every single time.
Doesn't surprise me.
I did not want to go with a lunchbox. I did not want to put myself out there and
I had plenty
attach a
brown paper
personality.
bags.
Like once you made that lunchbox choice, you were identified with that lunchbox, and I never wanted to do that. So I went brown paper sack pretty much every day growing up until high school when I could buy lunch and get it on my own.
I'm surprised you didn't have like a Padres one or a Chargers one or Lakers one.
No, brown paper sack. Ben written on it every time. No decoration. Don't write on it. Don't do anything.
You did not want any attention called to yourself.
No, brown paper sack. I like to be under the radar as much as possible.
Big time.
No, but back to school supplies. That's when you were able to flex.
Did
you have the crayon box that had the sharpener in it, or did you just have the 8-pack?
Remember the big long one with the big top that you open?
Yeah.
You had the 700. Yeah. You had to get that Trapper Keeper.
You had
to get all of sticks
the
instead of regular
all the sticks and the
but
pens.
I like the plain colored ones, not the
I'd like to do this for the next 3 hours
not
and 45
the
minutes.
Outrageous designed Trapper Keepers. I went with the more business professional looking Trapper Keepers.
Plain. Even mine were plain.
Okay.
I didn't like the big the one with triangles all over it. I was like, settle down.
Exactly.
Dude. It doesn't need to look like a galaxy light show or anything. Like, just give me a blue, green, black, whatever.
Trapper Keepers were out when I was in school, but it was all about the peachies, the folders. What were you going to go with? Were you going with sports? Were you going with movies? Better not just go with like a plain blue one.
I never heard of a peachy. I don't even know what that
is. Just a little folder with like a little envelope.
The little pockets
for paper.
And they had the things in the middle, the brads.
Like the three rings.
The three brads that you had to fold open, put your stuff in. Then I had a great satisfaction from smoothing those down. I loved it. And you rip your fingernail trying to open it at first. The memories are rushing back right now. It's crazy. So there's your foreplay segment. We will get into the San Diego Padres.
Did you guys have chocolate milk in school?
Yeah.
We had chocolate milk on Fridays.
We had all chocolate milk every day.
I didn't really trust school milk, so I did not drink school milk. I brought a juice box usually.
What kind?
I liked the Minute Maid fruit punch.
Delicious.
Was my juice box of choice.
And what was in your lunch?
Usually a string cheese.
Okay.
Some sort of crackers, maybe like some raisins.
Okay.
Maybe like some like lunch meat, but not in a sandwich because I didn't like putting it all together in sandwiches. So it was just kind of. It was basically a charcuterie, like a kid's
a 5-year-old,
like
charcuterie.
A 5-year-old's charcuterie, package.
Yeah, it's great.
String cheese, little lunch meat, little raisins. I don't know if I had some, maybe some. I don't know. You know how charcuterie plates work.
Yeah, of course.
So, all right, let's get to it. It is a daily Ditty selection today.
Me too.
For an entire show.
The choice is the theme is local bands from Woods' choice yesterday. Paulie will make the pick today, and then we will get rolling on a Tuesday. Padres obviously seem like they might be closer to being sellers rather than buyers. Coming up at 7:35 this morning, we'll be joined by one of the best from ESPN, Jesse Rogers. 1 week out from the trade deadline, 1 week from today. And Padres are not headed in the right direction. What will they do? What will other teams do at the deadline? It's getting down to and there's yet to be any really big moves. There have been a couple moves so far, but really nothing huge yet. We'll find out more from Jesse Rogers at 7:35. And then a total Jesse Tuesday. Jesse Agler, the incorporator, voice of the Padres after that frustrating game last night. He will join us at 8:35 this morning. All coming up on Ben and Woods. Let's start with a check of traffic with Kelly Danick. And then we are rolling on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Kind of like this, Paulie.
Very good.
Local band. Who is it?
This is Delta Spirit. Bushwick Blues is the name of this song.
Sounds like an airline slogan.
What?
Delta Spirit.
Delta Spirit. Yeah, we have that.
Actually, they're
Delta
two
Spirit.
different airlines.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
Delta
We
and
have that.
Spirit.
We have both of them. Now, I actually did not know Delta Spirit was from San Diego. I Googled the old San Diego bands and artists and was, of course, there's Blink-182, Eddie Vedder going down the list. And I go, Delta Spirit. I know them. Had no idea they were from San Diego. 2011, I went to Nashville for the first time, only time. One of my favorite vacations I've ever been on. Night one, me and my buddy we go out to dinner and we're talking to our server and we go, all right, we want to experience Nashville. I don't want to go to the Jack Daniel's distillery. What do we need to do in Nashville to really get the experience? She doesn't hesitate at all. She goes, go see a show.
Yeah, of course.
Google it. Don't go to the honky tonks where it's just some guy playing. Go see a show.
Yeah.
Said, all right, got on the internet, checked out who's playing that week. And the next night we went and saw Delta Spirit just because we're like, all right, this is the venue everyone's saying to go to, some club out in Nashville. We're like, I've never heard of these guys. Let's go. Saw Delta Spirit. Had a great time.
Yeah, they played some of our shows at 94.9 when I was there.
Hell
My
yeah.
boss, Garrett. Yeah, Delta Spirit. He loved Delta Spirit. Yeah, you hear that new one? Woodsy from Delta Spirit? Love it. Yeah, it's great.
Going to start a band called Southwest Frontier.
All right.
Sounds like an actual band name.
Catch,
No,
yeah,
they-
exactly.
I don't-
Catch
are
all
they-
the airlines
I
out
don't know
there.
if they're still together, but I remember them being really, really good.
Yeah, I went down the
Delta Spirit Rabbit Hole.
oh yeah.
Really good. Good pick.
All right. Tomorrow is my local band daily
Oh, I
ditty, and I've
can't
decided
wait.
I'm going to lean into it. Wood said this is a chance for me to broaden my horizons. So I'm going to listen to some local music bands that I would never have probably listened to before and pick something completely
I
different.
love it.
For tomorrow's show. Unless, of course, you lose take on Woods today, and then
Which is a
we'll have to wait
possibility.
until later in the week for my
Where
selection.
my head is at right now.
Speaking of local events tonight, since we've got our Padres wrap-up coming
Man.
up, they have the big soccer match at Snapdragon Stadium tonight. Wrexham AFC, Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhaney's Division 4 English team from Wales, taking on Manchester United, the powerhouse of really all professional soccer, maybe the most famous soccer team in the world. Tickets sold out pretty much immediately. What, about 2-3 months ago when they announced this, they went on sale. I think some people are definitely excited to see the people they watched on the Wrexham television program, the series that's been running for the last couple of years. Others wanted to see Manchester United. I mean, coming to San Diego, I've seen that some people aren't that happy because Manchester United is not playing any of their players.
No.
It's basically like you went to a Padres game and you got the spring training El Paso Chihuahuas roster.
Yeah.
That's who's playing for Manchester United tonight. It's their like youth development academy team. Now all their regular players are going to play tomorrow in Houston. So they were here for a day.
Cool.
They're all flying
Very cool,
to Houston
guys.
and going to play in a big stadium against I think Real Madrid tomorrow.
It's like when Foo Fighters announces their new tour and you're looking down the list, you're like, okay, LA, all right, yeah, Kia Forum, okay, Phoenix, Vegas, no San Diego.
No, it's more like the Foo Fighters come to town and Dave Grohl's like, I can't play, but I got some friends of mine that can. And then
They're
they
gonna play
got
our
money
songs.
and they're going to play our
Yeah,
songs.
this is
and
basically-
you paid $300
Yeah.
to go watch Everlong, and it's, hey, I'm Dave Grohl's roadie, and said I could jam tonight. You guys cool with that? Like,
This is basically a
worse.
cover band of Manchester
Yes.
United playing
all right,
tonight
question.
against Wrexham AFC at Snapdragon Stadium.
Question. I mean, you're livid if you bought tickets, right? You're
Some
livid.
people are. I mean, they paid like $150
because it wasn't advertised that way. I'm just
going
gonna guess. I'm
Now,
just guessing.
Well, it wasn't, and it was. Manchester United was got out front from the start. Hey, we're going to definitely be playing some of our younger players in this game. And if you know soccer, you're probably expecting. I mean, it would be a complete and utter mismatch if they were taking on a fourth division team with all of their stars. It'd be like 7-8 nothing against Wrexham.
Can't you start
A couple of your good players
do
and
like
then
they
pull
do
them
in
out.
spring training? Manny gets a couple of at bats,
Yeah,
and then he's like, I'm out. Do something.
Yeah. Feels like that might be a better way to go if you're going to travel halfway across the world to
I think
show off your brand and your team to America. That
the way
just to leave us with your AA players is not exactly the best way to make a good impression.
The way you really sunk it home for me was they're all playing in Houston the next night. That's what really is good. If I didn't know that, I'd be like, well, okay. I mean, you see the uniforms, blah, blah, blah. You see the future of Man U. And now you're like, oh, cool. The people in Houston will get to see Man U. We get to see Man U Academy.
It's like the Padres are actually sending their Fort Wayne roster to Korea next March.
We may have a bet. If we sent Fort Wayne to Petco, I mean, could you do any worse?
Couldn't get much worse.
Couldn't get much worse.
Wouldn't mind seeing Lake Elsinore play right now with Ethan Salas and see what they're doing.
Kids ready.
A little excitement in the Padres minor leagues. That's why at this point, if you trade away any of your big prospects, I'd be almost angry now.
Oh, yeah.
Because your players and your team needs to earn the trust of a big move. And they have not done that.
No.
They have not done that. Now, I don't know that you're at the point.
Save it.
Okay.
Save it.
We'll sell it. We'll save it.
Save it for next.
I
want
we'll
to hear what you said.
All right. We'll come back and we'll have our Padres wrap up. Ugly night at the ball yard last night. And then we'll get into where they stand a week ahead of the trade deadline. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Cars.com. Whether you're looking for the perfect summer road trip car or something you can zip around in, visit Cars.com today. They have over 2 million cars for your 2 million summer possibilities. Head to Cars.com. Check out the possibilities. Cars.com. Where to next? I have no idea what happened to you, Darvish, last night. I was even entertaining the notion
I know
that
you were.
Somehow the Pirates had stolen his signs, or he was tipping every pitch, because they looked like they were absolutely waiting for everything he was going to throw.
Was it 3 2-strike home runs?
Yeah.
I mean,
from the get-go,
first
inning.
I look at
they were touching him up.
Go back to the threads of Ben and Woods in-game tweets, or sorry,
just our private text thread.
It
was dicey from the very, very beginning.
Time the game starts, 6:40.
Yeah.
6:58. I said, "You right now." And it's a guy with his fingers in a flame. Ben said, "Sharp contact." I said, "Very." And then Sawinski hit a bomb, and Paulie goes, "There it is." I said, "Jack Sawinski, by the way, has 20 bombs." And Ben says, "Pretty much hit the mitt. Maybe don't pitch him there, especially after the first AB, right?
Where
he just missed a home run by a foot.
And then scalded a double down the line on another inside pitch.
So, yeah, it was really, really pretty evident early on that you did not have his sharp stuff last night. I said yesterday that I wanted to see the Padres and Bob Melvin in particular manage it like a playoff game. And I'll tell you this, in a playoff game, there's no way a starting pitcher is going to give up 7 runs, even if it's you, Darvish. There's just no way. What's your max?
I mean,
there?
they pulled Mike Clevenger after what? 4 batters?
Yeah.
And he didn't have 4 runs, whatever it was. Didn't get a single out, and he was gone.
Yep. And so, listen, thanks for the 3 innings tonight, but we got to make a change. Now, if you really want to play that tape forward, I do understand a couple of things. And I do think Bob Melvin should, let me get that out there before anyone calls me an apologist.
Well, let's play the highlights, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss that strategic decision by Bob Melvin to leave you, Darvish, in there and eat some innings. We'll get to the Padres wrap-up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple stalled vehicles in the North County. One of them is on the Palomar Airport Road off-ramp, northbound 5, and a stall blocking the right lane, eastbound 78, right before College. There's someone walking around trying to work on that vehicle, so please take it extra carefully, even move over lane if it's safe to do so. That's East 78, just before College. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy, live from the Crapper again.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
Oh, God, here we go.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
Presented by Hamel Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamel Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamel Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
2-1, Kim hits it well in the air to deep left center. Reynolds going back. Zawinski going back. It's going to go! Another leadoff home run for Ha-Seong Kim. The Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning. And Sawinski swings, hits one in the air deep down the right field line. This will stay fair, and this will go. A home run over the Petco porch. And again, Sawinski taking aim for the right field corner here in San Diego. That'll be his team-leading 21st home run of the season. And the Pirates have tied it up here in the third inning. Darvish will pause at the letters. Now the payoff pitch. And Santana hits it in the air to deep right. Fernando's racing back. He is not going to have a play, and it'll go a 2-run home run for Carlos Santana.
It came on the slider. It's a pitch that Darvish has had a hard time commanding here early.
2-2. Here's the pitch to Peguero, and that's hit in the air deep to left field. Soto going back over into the corner. On the move, it's going to go. A 2-run home run for Peguero. His first in the big leagues. Darvish hung another breaking ball. And the Bucks have hit their third home run tonight. They lead it 5-1. 1-1 to Santana. That's hit in the air to deep right center field. Fernando rushing back at the wall, looking up, gonna go. Second of the night for Carlos Santana. The Pirates' fourth home run against Yu Darvish. Another 2-run shot, and it's 7-1. Runners lead. Now the pitch and a high chopper towards third base. Kim charging, gets rid of it quickly. The throw to first, not in time. Run scores, throw to third, and out at third base, Marcano. Marcano, by the way, down in a heap and injured in the coach's box. He is clutching his right knee, and immediately Bogarts kind of put his head down like he knew something bad had happened injury-wise. And now the pitch. Kim swings, hits it in the air to deep left. Reynolds going back at the wall, leaps up, and it's going to go! Just out of his reach over the left field wall. Into the second row, and Kim with his second home run of the night. There is Camposano. Swings to the first pitch and lines it into left center for a base hit. That might find the gap. It does. Cut off by Sowinski in center. Cronenworth rounding third. He's going to score an RBI double for Luis Camposano, and now a 4-run game in the sixth. Grisham pops this one up, right side of the infield. That should do it. Gonzalez, the second baseman, on the dirt, makes the catch. The Padres go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the ninth inning, and they fall to 0-4 against the Pittsburgh Pirates here in 2023.
You know, there's been a lot of disappointment, so you know, it just kind of adds to the frustration. You know, we just haven't been able to do anything to give ourselves a ton of confidence. So we have to do that. You know, we have to come back and win a game tomorrow and try to win a series, which we've been doing here recently.
I mean, I almost had to laugh last night.
Oh, yeah.
The home run by Leover Piguero
was infuriating.
He was hitting 067, had never hit a home run. Honestly, I think Bartolo Colon might have had a better chance at a home run. Pretty much the same shot that Bartolo Colon hit as well.
I take Joe Musgrove
off
over
James Shields, just down the line in left. I mean,
the one that clanged off the top of the wall.
I think so. Just into the little corner there under the Western Metal Supply. It hit something hard.
I heard like a it hit something down there, and I went, yeah, that ball went out. That ball went out.
I mean, you could be throwing home run derby to that guy, and he might not get a single one.
This is infuriating.
And yet somehow goes deep off Yu Darvish, who gives up a career high tying 4 home runs in 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, and takes the loss, falling to 7-7. And Yu Darvish's ERA is up to 4.80.
That's rough.
A little troubling. He's had some good starts, obviously, this year, but overall, you know, a little troubling after he gets a big extension, you know, in the offseason to stick around San Diego. And you know that Yu Darvish is going to be around for a while, and you hope that these aren't signs that, you know, he's starting to falter later in his career, that it's simply a bit of an aberration. We did see this a couple of years ago. What was it, second half of the year when Yu Darvish struggled pretty badly, had just a, you know, not great second half of the season. So hopefully this is an aberration. Occasionally this happens, and then Yu comes back and pitches great the next time out. We have seen it many times before, but yesterday was a day that they could ill afford a start like that from, you know, that's 2 in a row where, I mean, Joe Musgrove didn't pitch terribly, but when you get Musgrove and Darvish going against the Tigers and the Pirates, you need to win those games almost every single time. And going 0-2, especially in a wild card race, is completely unacceptable. Completely.
Before the wrap up, I was saying about Bob Melvin, you know, I'm a Bob Melvin fan. That being said, I don't think there was any excuse for leaving Darvish out there last night. Now, if you want, like I was going to say, if you want to play the tape forward, right, you have to think about, okay, well, what would be the corresponding move? I'm probably yanking Darvish after he gives up 4. That's probably it. I mean, the contact was screaming. It was just screaming contact, foul.
Well, so he gave up the 3 in the top of the third on the 2 home runs. So the tying home run by Sowinski, the 2-run home run
by Santana.
I think he comes back in the 4th, no matter what. You see if, let's give him an inning.
And we're down what then?
It's down 3-1.
3-1.
And then in the 4th, he came back and he gave up that 2-run homer to Piguero.
Yep.
Now it's 5-1.
Now you're out.
That's probably one inning earlier is when you do it. They left him in for the 5th, gave up what turned out to be 3 more runs. I think one of them was charged to Tim Hill, but you could have taken him out at that point and said, whatever it is, he doesn't have it.
They're banging him around. They're banging him around, and it's not your night. Walking guys, the whole thing. So, nothing you can do about it now. That being said,
now ultimately you've given up 5, and you only scored 4.
Sure.
So you wasted an inning of bullpen on a game that you probably weren't going to end up winning anyway.
I don't know that baseball works that way.
I don't know that it does, but you can make that argument that if you're going to lose anyway, you might as well not torch your bullpen as well on the back end and save a little bit for the rest of this series.
And in a perfect world, there is a guy that after it's 4-1, there is a guy like Nick Martinez that can come in then and listen, give your team a chance to stay in the ball game. Let your offense finally come around on Quinn Priester, who, by the way, did lower his ERA last night to 9.28. Held the Padres to 4 runs in 5 1/3. I saw someone tweet this morning, and I got to disagree. Said, hey, his ERA is a little bit suspect. He's got really good stuff. I'll tell you what, I didn't see a lot of good stuff from him. I didn't see anything overpowering. Now, the kid they brought in later innings, Carmen Majiski, he's got good stuff. He was 95, 97 on the black. He had a pretty nasty get-me-over slider, but he was throwing it for strikes. He had a changeup that was pretty nasty. That's good stuff to me. That's the kind of guy you run up against and go, hey, man, this guy's just got good stuff, and we couldn't get good barrel on it. I mean, you let off the game with a home run. You had this kid on the ropes, and just another really bad performance, Ben, by the top of our lineup, excluding Ha-Seong Kim. The 2, 3, 4, 5.
And once again, it continues the story that the Padres have found ways to lose, and they have to get creative. I mean, for a while, it was the bullpen was blowing it. Early in the season, the offense couldn't do anything. Yesterday, it was the starting pitching. Bullpen did really well, actually. I think 5 1/3 innings, gave up the 1 run, and that was when Tim Hill gave up 3 kind of bleeders that one should have probably been an error. One was a chopper to third that was just beat out for the RBI single. He didn't pitch poorly. Avila came in, 2 innings, 3 strikeouts, 1 hit. Martinez, an inning, 3 strikeouts. Luis Garcia, an inning, perfect inning with a strikeout. I mean, the bullpen, throw that bullpen in a couple of weeks ago and the Padres win a bunch of games. But whatever it is they need to do to figure out ways to kind of lose games, they figure it out. Sometimes it was the bottom end of the Padres lineup couldn't produce. The guys outside of the top 4. Yesterday, they actually did their job. Ha-Seong Kim had 2 home runs. They had some offense at the bottom a little bit, got on base for Kim for a 2-run shot there. It was the main guys, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Manny Machado, who went 1 for 11 last night and could not get anything going against either the starter or the Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen. It's a different culprit almost every single night. It just rotates around. It floats and lands on someone, which makes it really hard to fix. Like, what's your problem? Well, the problem, it's not specifically any one area. It floats around and lands on a different person or a different facet of the team almost every single night. It's infuriating. It's maddening. And it makes it really hard for Bob Melvin and AJ Preller to do anything about it because, like the rest of us, they don't know where it's coming from on a day-to-day basis. I mean, they don't get a little card at the beginning of the day. All right, well,
offense is going to be struggling.
Like the offense is going to struggle today. They don't know. It's just a surprise every night which part of the team decides to come through, because there's always someone always seems to come through and pitch. Either it's a great pitching performance, or like last night, Ha-Seong Kim has a great night. Someone comes through.
Friday night, it was the bullpen coming in and getting it done, with Suarez and Hader. And a guy said last night, Bob Melvin's lazy for leaving you Darvish. And I get your sentiment. I don't know that lazy is the right word. He didn't not take him out because he was too tired to walk out to the mound. Again, I think Bob is managing a little bit scared right now because of what he's seen from his pen. And there is no true long man, right? There's not the guy there's not the Nabil Krismat. Now, he wasn't effective this year, but he has been at times. I think that role would be perfect for a Nick Martinez, or if we had more starting pitching.
Stammen was that guy for a while.
A Ryan Weathers, somebody that can come in and say, hey, man, keep this at 4-1.
And Avila did okay.
He did, but it was a bit of a roller coaster.
It was,
with the walks
and would you have trusted? Like, I feel good that Avila is going to give us 3 or 4 and keep us in this game. No, odds are you put in Avila and you're going to give up 5 or 6 more, and then it's really going to get out of hand. So you're trying to avoid that situation.
And the other thing too, you have to remember, This is not an excuse for Bob Melvin. It's not, I promise you. You have to remember that managers are typically going to ride with veterans like you, Darvish, that they've seen gut through, and we've seen it as Padre fans. We have all seen you, Darvish, not have his best stuff and find a way. We've seen it. We've seen you load the bases and strike out the side. We've seen, he doesn't pay attention to the runners. Guys are running on him. He doesn't care. We've seen him weasel his way in and out of innings. And I think that trust that Bob Melvin had in him said, hey, man, I know he doesn't have his good stuff. I know he's getting hit hard. I'm going to give him a shot. I'm going to give him a shot because I've seen him do it so many times, right? You trust your veterans. Bob probably trusted you a little bit too much last night. It was pretty painfully obvious. He just didn't have his good stuff last night. And hey, your theory about them picking up on something was not crazy. It's not crazy at all. They were so comfortable, especially with two strikes. It was
a breaking ball. Mudd mentioned it on the TV. Looked like they were waiting on the breaking ball, but then he switched to the fastball. It looked like they were waiting on the fastball.
It's nuts, man. The two-strike home runs are the ones where you go, interesting.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, down the crapper that game goes. Like Bob said, you got to win the series, and we get to move the goalposts again. You didn't lose any ground last night. You're still 6 out, which is garbage because you could have picked up.
Absolutely.
Gain
ground
momentum
on everybody. We'll talk about that coming up. Does it change anything? Jesse Rogers will join us in our next hour. All guests appear on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. And talk about some Ben and Woods in a different time slot next week. Let you know about that coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Get your fix of Ben and Woods every morning from 6 to 10 here on 97.3 The Fan. However, next Tuesday, 1 week from today, you will also be able to hear us from 2 to 3 p.m. here on 97.3 The Fan as we bring back the old round table trade deadline edition. 3 p.m. next Tuesday is the official Major League Baseball trade deadline, and we're going to do a 97.3 The Fan commercial-free hour with all the hosts together, Sam Levitt too, to discuss whatever the Padres do or don't do and any other big moves in Major League Baseball that go down. Now, we are sitting here 1 week away from that moment. And as I was kind of starting to get into last hour, I am a firm believer that if you want to add pieces, especially big pieces at the trade deadline, you can pretty much make an argument for it, even still for the Padres. But your team needs to earn that. That's like a privilege, I think, that players and coaches earn by playing well. It's not something you do to fix a team that is playing poorly.
To staunch the bleeding.
Yeah. I always think that's a mistake. If your team is going the wrong direction and playing poorly.
But hey, we could finish 12 games out instead of 18.
That's not what the trade deadline is for. What you really want is to take a team that's showing promise, that is playing well, and then supercharge it.
Yeah, like, the Orioles, the Braves.
Power it up with a move at the trade deadline. And right now, the Padres aren't giving me any reason to show why they deserve a power-up boost at the trade deadline. It sounds at the moment like you just simply be throwing out another prospect or two for something that's probably not going to make a huge difference. You know, is it going to be another rental?
Well, Benny, you know what it is.
An Adam Frazier type. Because remember, Adam Frazier may have actually made the Padres worse in 2021.
He absolutely did.
And while it didn't seem like they gave up a ton, gave up a guy named Jack Sawinski, who now has 21 home runs and a 125 OPS plus for the Pirates this year. Certainly when a team like the Padres is lacking depth and lacking options near the bottom of the order, lacking guys that you can bring in, Jack Sawinski would look really good. He'd be cheap. He'd be a great option for this Padres team to have. But instead, you traded it away for a guy who ended up not helping you at the end of that season. So
didn't have a position. There was no position for him.
Right. Don't make that same mistake this year.
But if you go out and make a huge splash at the deadline, and to be honest with you, the only huge splash available is Shohei Ohtani. I don't think that's going to happen for a couple of month rental. I think that would be whilst it would make for some really good content, it would not be a very prudent decision. That being said, are we allowed to tease what's coming up Friday yet or no? Not yet. Possibly. Well,
I don't know.
Here's the
Ask Paulie. Not yet.
You can read between the lines, whatever you want to do. There's been in media this season a vote of confidence for AJ Preller, right? By Peter Seidler. Peter Seidler said, quote, "When I think excellence, AJ is excellence." So that, if I'm AJ Preller, that gives me a little bit of confidence in thinking I'm not out on my ass if we don't make the playoffs, right? Peter's a patient guy. You can agree with that philosophy. You can disagree with it, however you choose to feel. That gives me a little confidence as a fan to think, okay, he's not out there absolutely going to gut the farm for big splashy moves to save his own ass to try to squeak into the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think. My gut tells me he's not going to do that. My gut tells me he probably will be very interested in buying some pieces. I just don't know how splashy they will be. And I can't say that I necessarily disagree with it either. You said you were all in this year, and until you're out, then you're in. And yes, it would suck to not get things back or people back for Snell and Hader when you could, when their value is really high for both. That being said, both those guys want to be here as well. Maybe you look at re-signing them in the offseason. I don't know. I don't know what.
By not trading them, you're buying yourself a couple extra months.
That's exactly.
Start those
you are.
negotiations.
Yeah, you're buying yourself an extra couple of months, and until you're out of it, you're still in it. I guess that's probably what they're thinking. So I don't imagine there will be huge splashes. But I think you can still help this team. I think a perfect example, guys, of having the ability to help this team came up in the game last night, Ben, when Alfonso Rivas is at the plate and they pinch hit Matt Batten for him. That's one where and Matt Batten goes down looking, and that's one where you look at and go, oh my God, give me Rugi Odor there. give me Nelson Cruz there. That's
Matt Carpenter pinch hitting in the 9th for Matt Batten, who pinch hit for Alfonso Rivas. That string of sequence of events right there is like,
right,
how is your seat not warm,
right?
AJ? What are we doing here?
And that is,
how are you a serious franchise?
Right. And that is one of those instances where you say, there are upgrades out there for that exact scenario that aren't going to cost you a ton. Our boy Tommy tweeted last night, Padres, as far as WRC plus, weighted runs created plus, 29th in the DH position, 29th. You can upgrade it. Get it to 15th, and let's see what happens.
And I would consider something like that. First, however,
it's not going to cost you a ton.
Let me throw out the phone number for Take on Woods, trying to qualify someone for a getaway to Las Vegas. Last week, your chance to get into this month's drawing, our musical trivia competition, is about 3 minutes away. So dial now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If one of those moves is available to upgrade the DH position cheaply with a left-handed bat somewhere, I would probably take advantage of it. But ultimately, I think our special trade deadline show next week is actually going to be a big nothing burger, because I don't think they're going to trade away Blake Snell or Josh Hader or Juan Soto. In fact, there was a report yesterday. I don't know exactly who heard what, but Talking Baseball tweeted.
Alden Gonzalez from ESPN had the original.
All right, so the Padres currently not expected to trade Blake Snell or Josh Hader. And on that post by Talking Baseball, referring to the Alden Gonzalez report, both Blake Snell and Josh Hader hit like on that. That they liked the news that they weren't going to be traded.
Yeah.
I
like that.
Yeah.
I think that we may see very little. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because I think the message from Bob Melvin going forward, whatever happens, needs to be, you can't be looking outside this clubhouse for help. Even if someone comes in, we're not winning because AJ makes a brilliant move at the deadline. It has to come from the guys who are already there. There's no way the Padres can turn this around, and it certainly looks like they're not going to, but there's no way it could ever happen unless it comes from within. There's no one on earth, even Shohei Ohtani, I don't think, could inject, just by himself.
I mean,
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think even by himself he inject. We thought that about Juan Soto last year.
Yeah, they went to the NLCS.
Yeah, but they didn't start playing well right away.
They went to the NLCS.
If they were 6 games back last year when they acquired Juan Soto, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. They would not have gotten to the playoffs because Juan Soto didn't inject anything. Now, by the time they got to the playoffs, yeah, he helped out and they made that run, but they weren't trying to catch up with a big deficit last year when they traded for Juan Soto. They earned the big move last year. Like I'm saying, they earned it. They played well enough last year to earn the big move by AJ Preller. They have not done that this year, and I don't think you make a move. It was suggested by our boss Adam. It's like the old, our marriage is struggling, let's have a baby to fix it. How often does that, is that a great idea?
All the time. Works every time.
This is not the time for a big move by the San Diego Padres. This is the time to challenge the players who are already here to say, don't look anywhere else for help.
The thing that
you look at only the guys who are here, because they are the only guys who can fix this season right now, are the people who are already in this clubhouse.
The thing that absolutely sickens me to my core is when I look at the NL wild card teams above us, and I see Cincinnati, who is 5-5 in their last 10, but they're still 8 games above 500. Arizona, 7 games above 500. They've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, they gave themselves enough of a cushion where they can stumble for a little bit.
San Francisco has lost 6 games straight. They are still 7 games above 500. Philly, 5-5. They're 6 games above 500. Now, then you get to the Cubs and the Padres, right? And though the Philly, the Cubs, and the Padres, the Mets are all these kind of middling teams. St. Louis is going on a pretty nice run right now, winning 7 out of 10. They're still well below 500. But man, I'm telling you, Ben, they're shooting themselves in the foot night after night after night. And I agree with you. Like, you haven't earned the big splash.
The only reason the season isn't over is because they could be having this conversation in Arizona, in Miami, in San Francisco, and they could all be saying right now, our team looks toast. They look like they're absolute toast right now. Mathematically, 3 teams will make the wild card at the end of the year. Someone has to make it. And right now, no team is going out and going, hey, we're definitely taking one of these spots. So as improbable as it sounds, it's still right there for the Padres.
It's
If they want to
insane.
be that team that plays better, someone is going to play better. And no one is playing well right now that's in the National League wild card race. So, Padres, why don't you go ahead and look inward and say to yourself, let's be that team that starts playing better? Because I guarantee you, either the Diamondbacks will turn it around or the Giants or the Reds. Someone is going to do it. But none of them look like they can do it right now. They all look horrible at the moment. Horrible.
Yeah, terrible.
All right, let's we'll get back to this. We'll take some phone calls on it later. Oh, we just lost.
We just had a few callers drop off.
All
I
right.
don't know
Well,
where they went.
now it's back to wide open again. So if you were trying to get in for Take on Woods, call us again, 833-288-0973. We'll immediately get to our game at this point, 833-288-0973. And then we'll get to Don't Do This coming up. Jesse Rogers is going to join us, though, at the bottom of the hour. Get his thoughts. He is always one of the better.
It's been too long since we
Love
talked
Jesse.
to
Yeah,
Talked
some
to
of
him
the
since
better
April.
perspective that we'll get, and I'm sure he'll be baffled. Every guest we've had on, basically national guests, is go, I mean, this team looks like they should be much better than they are.
They
They're
all
going to
say
turn it
it'll-
around.
they'll
It'll
turn it
happen.
around.
That's what they all say. It's almost
Jesse, though,
frustrating.
Jesse Rogers is about as dialed in as anybody can be
He is,
in
man.
baseball, so he'll tell us what conversations he's been hearing about.
Should I ask him, with passing on the shelf with the broken back, does that mean you slide into Top Gun? Like
Ooh.
passing is Cougar, and he lost the edge because he broke his back. Jesse Rogers slides right in to the top spot. Hey, we didn't slide into anything. Okay?
Cougar lost the turn of his wings.
Yeah.
You guys are number one.
You guys are number one. Now Jesse Rogers may be number one.
I'm sending you to
I'm sending I'm sending you to the trade deadline. Okay.
All right, let's
Gonna
get
be
to
flying a cargo jet out of Hong Kong.
it. Rubber what? All right, Jim, you got in first. I see other people. Ronnie, Albert, thanks for calling in, but we're going to go with Jim today on Take on Woods. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
All right, you are in. Woods is out, and we will start our game here. If you can beat or tie Woods, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing. 2-night stay at the Westgate, Las Vegas, and 2 tickets to Skid Row and Warrant. Special guest Paralandra at the International Theater at the Westgate on September 30th. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Check out the $70 million room renovations at the Westgate Resort and Casino, home of legendary Vegas fun. Here are your categories today. Jim, we've got Today is a Good Day, 5 song titles that begin with the word good. We have Is Everybody In? That is 5 musical answers that begin with the word everybody. And we have In Your Face. That would be 5 song titles that, now they don't include the word face. They include the phrase in your somewhere in the title. So Today is a Good Day, Is Everybody In, or In Your Face. Jim, what would you like to play?
Let's go with Today is a Good Day.
Today is a good day because all 5 song titles I have will begin with the word good. You'll have 60 seconds. Answer as many as you can. Pass if you don't know an answer. Our first question is our 2-second song. Paulie, getting ready to play a little music. You need to give me the title and the artist from the little snippet to score that point. Jim, are you ready to go?
Let's go.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Category Today is a good day. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Jim. Let's take on Woods.
Good days, bad good days. Led Zeppelin.
It is Led Zeppelin. What was the title again?
Good times, good times.
Good times. Good times, bad times. You got it. There you go. Name the song title used by both Marky Mark and the Beach Boys.
Good vibration.
Correct. What's the name of the Green Day song that begins another turning point, a fork stuck in the road? That's right. Sometimes Flow Rider got what in a 2011 smash hit? Which Beatles song has been used to help wake up crews on the space shuttle and the International Space Station?
Good morning.
Incorrect. Sometimes Flow Rider got what in a 2011 smash hit?
We're just going to say something about it.
All right, time is up. You did get the first 3.
He's also not wrong.
Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin, our 2-second song. Good Vibrations, Good Riddance, not Time of Your Life. Good Feeling is what Flow Rider gets. And Good Day Sunshine is the Beatles song that they play in space for the space shuttle crew. All right, let's bring in Woods. Hang on the line, Jim. See if your score holds up against Woodsy today. He does not get the category. It makes it a little tougher. See how he does. 60 seconds back on the clock. Time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Jim.
It's Good Times, Bad Times, Led Zeppelin.
Correct. Name the song title used by both Marky Mark and the Beach Boys.
Good Vibration.
Correct. What's the name of the Green Day song that begins another turning point, a fork stuck in the road, and it's not the time of your life?
It's Good Riddance.
Correct. Sometimes Flo Rida got what in a 2011 smash hit?
Pass.
Which Beatles song has been used to help wake up crews on the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station?
Good Day Sunshine?
Correct. Sometimes Flo Rida got what in a 2011 smash hit? Last one. Got a few seconds to
Something
think about
good?
it.
Good vibes? Good.
No, sometimes he gets a good feeling.
Oh.
But you did get 4, and by a 4-3 score, you narrowly defeat Jim today on Take on Woods. Jim,
sorry about
good
it.
playing for you today. Not going to happen on the qualifying for Vegas. The category today is a good day. All the answers
Good Day
began with the
Sunshine
word
was the difference.
good. Yes, Good Day Sunshine you got, and Jim did not get, and that was the difference.
Pulled
Neither of you
that out
got
of
good
my reeler.
feeling.
No, I don't know good feeling.
Yes, you do.
You always say that.
I don't even know that one.
You don't know that one?
Ben, the resident Flo Rida fan.
All right. Well, I thought you'd know that one.
It's all right.
All right, we will come back with Don't Do This next here on Ben and Woods.
Oh, man. Did you guys see the golfer's tweet that shocked the world yesterday?
Ooh.
Dirty, filthy, lying cheater.
I have a question.
Did you see it? You didn't see this? The
Yes,
cheater?
I did see the cheater, but I didn't see the details. I didn't kind of go into it. I saw the tweet, though. I did.
And what are the Dodgers up to?
Ooh. Very, very
interesting.
All right, let's get to this, and then Jesse Rogers all coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. That I did before I started the diet, which is crazy.
I've tried to tempt him on the golf course, and he does not crater.
Don't do this.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron.
You're a dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this.
Do not tweet that.
With Ben and Woods.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
On 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's get right to it. You both are coming to the table with the Don't Do This story. So, Woodsy, why don't you go first?
Mine has to do with a 28-year-old golfer named Justin Doden. Saw a tweet pop up yesterday, and I said, wow, that's pretty spicy. Did a little more digging into it, Ben. He erased his score on his card on the 36th hole of last week's Commissionaires Ottawa Open in Dunrobin, Ontario. He wrote down a score 2 strokes lower so that he could make the cut on the number. So he had a double bogey, turned his card in. Then he said, hey, let me check something real quick. So they gave it back to him. Didn't think anything of it. He erased the 7 and put a 5 and then made the cut. A couple of guys were having lunch and looked at the live scoreboard, and they said, he's not 3 under for the tourney. I just played with him. There's no way. This has got to be a scoreboard operator thing. So they went to the rules officials, and they got the card, and they said, oh, yeah, he erased it. He got a double bogey. They called him, and he said, yeah, I did. I cheated. And because of that, not mistake, it's not a mistake, because of him cheating and then admitting it and then, rectifying it, 16 more players were allowed to play the weekend. These guys don't have a lot of money on these little tours. These guys are grinding for it. So he went to Twitter and he said, I am here to confess of the biggest mistake I have made in my life to date. I cheated in golf. This is not who I am. I let my sponsors down. I let my competitors down. I let my family down. I let myself down. I pray for your forgiveness, John 1:9. John 1:9, Ben, of course, famously says, if we confess our sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So he's good. He threw a Bible verse in there. He's fine. So he got, you want to talk about getting dragged. That dude got dragged. And again, you're talking about affecting the careers of 16 other players, maybe.
I have sympathy in that I know how hard it is to try to make a living, and you want your dream to continue. And these guys spend a bunch of money to go to these tournaments, and if they don't win any money, maybe and I can see why the temptation is there. But you do that, and you made the point. All those other guys, now have a chance to win money that would have been knocked out of the tournament, and that's the crime here, is that he nearly cost 16 people a chance maybe to pursue their dream in order to cheatingly try to pursue his.
Well, and it reminded me of that big piece they did on the Astros. Remember when they were banging the trash cans and all that? And they did a deep dive into some of those pitchers that the Astros were absolutely torching and lighting up. Remember some of those stories that we told back when we first started as a show? Guys' careers never recovered. I mean, they got sent down and were never to be heard from again. It's pretty far reaching, other than, hey, I improved my score by 2 strokes and I made the cut. There's a ripple effect, certainly.
Paulie?
So.
I just have a question. What's going on with the LA Dodgers?
What
are they up to?
It's probably much ado about nothing, but it was pretty funny to see, Paulie.
So Michael Grove was the starting pitcher for Ben's Los Angeles Dodgers last night.
I've never liked the Dodgers. Let me be on record as saying never once in my life have I liked the Dodgers.
Ben, you do a great job.
They like you, though.
I liked Dave Roberts when mostly he was a coach with the Padres and was growing up here.
Okay. Anyways, I digress. So he was starting against the Blue Jays last night and looked good, looked sharp, 4 scoreless innings. And something happened. The umpires asked him to change his pants.
Yeah, to change his pants.
You could see if you were watching the game, I saw some still shots. There was a clear, like a dark spot on his right leg of his pant leg, and he kept touching it. He kept going there. And so sure enough, he changed his pants, and when he came back out for the 5th inning, it got a little ugly. He gave up 2 runs on 4 hits and was pulled from the game.
Interesting.
Now, he says he always just touches his leg there, and dirt builds up on your hands.
Sure.
So that's
You grab the rosin bag, right?
That's what that spot was. And when there was a request from the Blue Jays,
So think
for him to
about
change
this.
his pants, he obliged.
I saw a Dodger fan saying, well, if only there was an umpire there to check him between innings, being sarcastic, because there is an umpire there. What did I tell you guys? What I was told by a big league pitcher. They load up their pants with a clear solution, right? That helps you get rid of the sticky stuff on your fingers, a rubbing alcohol type hand sanitizer type scene.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have white pants on and I slather my right thigh with hand sanitizer, you won't see it. It's clear. And I'm loading up the ball, and but when the inning's over, I get the last out. I just wipe my dirty hands on my pants. It gets the sticky stuff off enough to where I'll pass a check. That's what I was told by a big league pitcher currently pitching in the big leagues today. That's what he heard guys are doing. They're loading up their pants, the inside of their belt, their hats with the solution that clears the sticky stuff off your fingers enough to pass a check by the umpires, and you can just say, oh, it's just rosin. It's just rosin. And it clearly works. I'm not saying he was doing that. I'm saying that's what I was told, because that's where they loaded up.
Interesting.
His name Michael Grove.
It was not Michael Grove that admitted that.
Finally, I guess this would be a don't do this for the Brewers and a do this for Ellie De La Cruz.
DD mega do.
Brewers Reds last night. First inning, De La Cruz hit a long fly ball to left center field. Looked like a home run, but Joey Weimer made a great catch to rob De La Cruz of a round tripper. But when Ellie De La Cruz came up the next time at American Family Field, the scoreboard, kind of a Kershaw crying meme thing, they put up almost hit a home run in the first inning, but didn't.
Yeah.
And, of course, Ellie De La Cruz responded by hitting a ball literally out of American Family Field. I don't – they say it was 455, but the thing, like, I've never seen a ball at that park hit so far. I mean, it was over the Toyota that they had out high up in the outfield and heading toward, like, the windows in the back, over all the stands and everything. An absolute monster bomb to deep right center. That's the way to respond to the little scoreboard trolling.
Pretty cool.
By Ellie De La Cruz. And that's Don't and Do This for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we got Jesse Rogers from ESPN joining us exactly 1 week out from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Get Jesse's insight coming up next year with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson STEM. Not going to wait around. We're going to get to traffic, and then on the other side, Jesse Rogers from ESPN going to join us 1 week ahead of the Major League Baseball trade deadline with Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. All right, let's go out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. We've been doing this for weeks now. Sellers, buyers, what are the Padres going to do? What else is going to happen at the trade deadline? And joining us right now is ESPN MLB insider Jesse Rogers here with Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Jesse, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
Sure thing. Good morning.
Good morning, bud. Yeah, I mean, let's Padres will have some pieces, Jesse, certainly, and a lot of people talking about speculation that we've heard from the horse's mouth, the horse being Blake Snell. He wants to stay here, and I don't know that that's the smartest decision for the San Diego Padres, but you could always flip a Blake Snell and then re-sign him in the offseason. No reason he has to stay with Baltimore or whoever they end up moving him to if they do. What are you hearing out there in regards to starting pitching on the market?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting market. There's some good ones out there, but it's not as deep as maybe in the past. Unless Verlander and Scherzer are made available, we'll see how that works out. But certainly Snell would be at the top of the list along with Jordan Montgomery from that side of the mound. There's no doubt about that. This is what I would do if I was the Padres. I would really look into trading Josh Hader before I'd look into Blake Snell. Because it is a good enough team that you could convince yourself, okay, we just need that 3-week hot stretch, right? If you're AJ Preller or ownership. And you can do that with Blake Snell and without Josh Hader. You can't really do it the other way around. My point being, if you're going to soft sell, you move the closer. Closers, relievers, this is the time to get the most for them, especially a guy like Hader who's going to enter free agency. You don't get it. Let's say he was under contract. You don't get as much for closer or a great reliever in December as you do in July, because those teams that need that final arm to put them in the World Series will give up a lot. We've seen it in the past. But look, I think the Padres feel like they're one hot streak away from somehow getting back in this thing. 6 games out of the wild card with 3 teams to overcome there. It's not easy, but you can't do that if you trade Snell and keep Hader. But you can do it the other way around. You can survive without your closer if you mix and match and figure things out. I don't think you can survive with one of your best starters who's been hot as hell the last couple of months. So that's the way I would go. Now they might keep them both, knowing AJ Preller. I think that'd be a mistake. Like you've got, and here's the thing: you're going to say the right things all the way up until the moment where you do deal them. We think we're in it. We're one hot week away, whatever. I'm not sure all the rhetoric out there, but this is what you do until the moment that you trade them. So I'm not concerned about what's being said publicly, even by Blake Snell. Like, I want to stay. Like, show me the player that publicly says he wants to get moved in July. It just doesn't happen. You might hear that sort of privately, but they're not going to say that on the record. So everybody says they want to stay. Everybody says they'd be open to re-signing. Here's the thing. Like, the idea of being traded and then you re-sign, look, you do have a leg up on a player if you really enjoyed his time and there's some connections there. But most of the time when a player gets to free agency, he's already been on several teams, Blake Snell. He's going to look at everyone.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Money does the talking. Let's not forget that. So there's a 5% better chance that Blake Snell would re-sign because hopefully he's enjoyed his time in San Diego. But honestly, it's the best contract that usually gets the player, unless there's a particular tie to that city, family or some other reason.
I think I agree with you, Jesse, on Hader. We can talk about that later, Woods. But I want to ask, it's hard to determine what anyone should do until you can even handicap the wild card race. And looking at the National League right now, Jesse, who do you trust? I mean, the Reds are right now the wild card leaders by half a game, but they've started to cool off, and they're very young and untested. The Marlins have just fallen off the map here and have come back to earth. The Diamondbacks have lost 5 in a row. The Giants have lost 6 in a row. The Phillies, I think, have lost 4 of 5. And then you'll have to go all the way down to the Cubs and the Padres. The Cubs are playing a little bit better lately, but who do you trust? Who do you think is going to emerge here in the National League wildcard race?
Yeah, it's real interesting you bring up that point. I had a conversation with a current GM 2 days ago, and he basically said, who scares you after Atlanta in the entire National League? Now, I still think the Dodgers scare everybody, but I understood what he meant.
Yeah.
Like, the Braves are by far the best team in the league, and the Dodgers are not the Dodgers of the last few years. So his point and your point is well taken, and maybe that's why you hang around. You do a little soft sell or you do a little buy and sell. But boy, I've seen it before, man. Those closers are so valuable at this time of year, and you have to be realistic. 6 games out with really it's 4 teams to overcome to get the third wild card spot. That's just it's still a lot. It's still a lot because that's really like 8 or 9 games because you have other teams in front of you. But look, it's happened before. You do a little soft sell and you still compete. The Baltimore Orioles had a great run after trading away Mancini and others last year. So it can happen. I just don't think it can happen if you trade Blake Snell. Like it's really tough to fill a starting pitcher spot. But a closer that pitches every few days, even a position player, you can sort of fill the holes a little bit. But I don't disagree with you. Like it's a little bit wide open. I mean, Arizona, Miami, the bottom could fall out. San Francisco, none of these teams are juggernauts. None of them. Philadelphia, you can consider like they've been there, done that before. So that's the team I actually have the most trust in. And at the moment, they would not be in the playoffs. Yep. So think about those 4 teams. I think they're Cincinnati, Arizona, Miami, San Francisco are all right there. None of them really scare you. So I can understand how the Padres might feel that way. But you have to be smart. And they unloaded their farm system in the last few years. I just would not stand pat if I'm AJ Preller. But that's my head talking. My heart and my owner might feel differently.
Well, another team you know well, Jesse Rogers, the Chicago White Sox, seemingly every year, poised to make a run. The division is so weak. I mean, it's got to be frustrating for White Sox fans every single year with again, on paper, just like us here. You look at the roster on paper and go, oh yeah, okay, now this is the year it's coming together. It's not. Yeah. You got a lot of prospect or a lot of guys that can get you back some prospect there for the White Sox. Who do you expect to be moved from the Chicago White Sox in the next week?
Yeah, there's no doubt Lucas Giolito's gone. That was 2 years in the making, to be honest. He was never going to re-sign. So Lucas Giolito having a good walk year, not a fantastic walk year, but a good walk year should net them a prospect or two, no doubt. Lance Lynn has some swing and miss left in him. Just don't look at all the underlying numbers. I mean, just don't look at all the numbers, I should say. Lots of home runs, left-handers crush him. So, but you never know. There still might be something left in Lance Lynn's tank. There's some good relievers there. Fireballer, Ronaldo Lopez, Kendall Graveman has veteran experience. Joe Kelly's been around the block. Bunch of those guys. You know, they do need to unclog their position players as well. Gavin Sheets, a lefty, who knows, could be part of a deal. Tim Anderson's the big question mark. Just an awful, awful year. Probably needs a change of scenery. Terrible year defensively, so I'm not sure a contender wants to stick him at shortstop like the Dodgers and take your chances there. Maybe he moves to second base. The Mariners getting terrible production there. So there's some obvious candidates among the pitching staff. The big question mark is can they and will they move Tim Anderson? And if they do that, it really changes the dynamic. I mean, he's been your starting shortstop, all-star, World Baseball Classic guy, but he's been awful.
Yeah,
I mean, just god-awful.
Timmy. Yeah,
so,
very.
Yeah, probably have to move him or at least maybe not even pick up his option if you keep him. But it's the pitchers that will get the most interest and are movable. Like Eloy Jimenez is not really movable. Yohan Moncada not movable. They're too injury prone. So the White Sox are going to break up that pitching staff.
Talking to ESPN MLB insider Jesse Rogers, 1 week ahead of baseball's trade deadline. And Jesse, kind of like the Padres, with the Angels, it almost feels like every other day it kind of swings. Like, oh, wait, they won a game. They're going to keep Shohei. Oh, they lost a game. They're going to trade him. What do you kind of anticipate happening and unfolding over the next week when it comes to Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah, it feels like the Angels and the Chicago Cubs are in the same category in the sense that, and probably the Padres as well. The front offices of these teams want every reason not to sell. Okay, the Angels. I was talking to a GM the other day, and I wrote this for ESPN.com. Every situation is different, and in the Angels' case, the smart move would certainly be to trade him, but they haven't been in the playoffs in 10 years, and that changes the dynamic. If this was the Yankees, or just pick a team that's always in it, every year, and you had that 1 year where you have to step back and trade a guy because he's going to be that makes sense, a 1 year step back. But the Angels have been in a 10-year step back, so they want every reason to keep him. The Cubs are in a similar spot. They made the playoffs in 2020, but they've been 2 years of selling off. They want every reason to keep Cody Bellinger. Now the Padres, a little different. They've been building. They made the playoffs last year. They went pretty far. They probably don't want a 1 year step back, but it might be prudent. But they're probably trying to find every reason not to move the guys we talked about. So it really comes down to, like I said before, your head versus your heart. What's smart versus what's sort of emotional. We haven't made the playoffs in 10 years. Just making it would be enough. Where I think the Padres just making it isn't enough. And so you have to, I talked to GM as well, you have to measure getting in versus how far you can go. In the Angels' case, just getting in would be enough to satisfy probably a lot of people out there, maybe even satisfy Ohtani to stay. So I think for all those reasons, the little resurgence they've had, they're probably going to stand pat, not trade him. I think it's probably a mistake. They're not that good. Maybe when Trout gets back, it's the boost they need late in the year. But I think they're going to stick. And I think the little resurgence after the All-Star break made the difference. If you asked me a week ago, I would have said he's moving. But now that they're over 500, again, another week will determine a lot. I think they're going to stick either way.
It's going to be, everyone's saying that this trade deadline is going to be slow. And then I saw reports, Ken Rosenthal said, well, let's tap the brakes on that. I can't imagine it's not going to be filled with a flurry of moves. And listen, we were talking about the Braves, and I don't think, we all saw what happened last year in the playoffs, Jesse. Winning a ton of games in the regular season really doesn't mean much. Running away with the division really doesn't mean much. You saw the Padres take out the Mets and then the Dodgers and eventually run into the red hot Phillies. But I feel like there are teams, if they get in, I feel like the Padres could be one of them. I know I'm stupid for saying it, but I feel like if they could just get to the dance, there is damage to be done there.
It's certainly possible with that roster, but eventually you are who you are, right?
Right. Yeah.
4 months of underachieving baseball. Look, you can stick. There's no guarantee with these prospects. We could have this debate all day long. Do you make the best of a bad situation, or do you stick it out after 4 bad months for 2 more bad months with the hope that you pull a Cardinals in 21 where they won 17 in a row? But that only got them to the playoffs. It's such a fine line. Here's the other thing: 4 rounds, right? Again, every situation is different. The Padres, if they sneak in and lose in the first round, and they lose Hader and they lose Snell for nothing, no one's going to be happy out there. No one. Because once you make the playoffs, the next year you got, especially as far as you got last year. So it's all about context and all these things. I was talking to a GM. There's playoff odds to get in, and then there's World Series odds. They could be very different for a team, especially you talk about teams in the AL and NL Central. So no one knows what the right answer is because nobody has a crystal ball. But I know that GMs are good at taking emotion out of it. And that's the biggest thing you have to do here, and maximizing your situation. I know we're probably out of time. Here's my final thought. Like, if you're going to have a losing summer, you need to win somewhere along the way, and you can win on July 31st. You can make a winning move on July 31st. Now, there's no guarantee it's a losing summer for the Padres because we don't know what August and September are like. But, man, it's been 4 mediocre months. So that's why I say maybe the soft sell is the best thing. Win something come next Tuesday or Monday.
Chalk up a dub.
And then if the season's not over, the season's not over, keep playing. That's where maybe you trade Hader and not Snell. If you're trying to thread that needle, that would be my advice because you'll never get more for Josh Hader than right now.
Good call.
I mean, 0.97 ERA. relievers at the deadline. I mean, they're valuable. So that'd be my suggestion. But nobody has a crystal ball, guys. There's no easy answer here. But man, you've been 5 games under forever. Where's the light at the end of the tunnel here? It doesn't feel good, even if you had a crystal ball and said there's a run in. You just don't know that right now. You just don't know that.
Schedule's brutal, by the way, in August. Absolutely brutal too. So
I know, but when they play the bad teams is when they lose. So it doesn't make any sense. Hey, I mean, Jesse, we are out of time, but if you want to stick around for the next 2 hours, we'd be happy to have you. No, I'm just kidding. We'll let you go, and always appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You got it, guys. Be well.
Jesse Rogers, ESPN, on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Here's why I agree with Jesse. A closer is there, so you win a bunch of one-run games. Padres have the worst record in one-run games in baseball. It's not Josh Hader's fault, but they're not taking advantage of Josh Hader at all. So if you can get something for him here, it does make a lot of sense. You can't get any worse in one-run games than you really have already been. And if you do, well, you're not making the playoffs anyway.
I like what he says about just collecting a dub of some sort, and that would be, depending on what you get back, that would be a win.
Now, here's the counter argument. What's the point of all this? If you're trying to go on a run and trying to get to the playoffs, and you somehow do,
then you don't have a closer.
And you get to like the National League Championship Series, and it's 5-4 in the 9th against the Braves in Game 7. and
Luis Garcia.
And you can't throw Josh Hader out there. Then what was the point of
You're just hitting yourself in the nuts.
It's like if you're going to sell it all, just sell.
What was the point of the whole season if you've gotten to that point? And you got to trust some.
No, I wish we had Josh Hader.
Yeah, Josh Hader right now to close out this playoff incredibly important game. So you can always, as Jesse said, you can always see it both ways, and there's no crystal ball. But that's what we try to do anyway. We'll be back with more Ben and
Big
Woods.
game, Bob Suarez to close it out.
Pirates today. Pre-game, 5:40. First pitch, 6:40.
A double, an error, an RBI, and a 2-0 Padre lead.
The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey guys, Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health to let you know that you don't have to take Viagra for the rest of your life. Acoustic wave therapy has changed the game. Trust me, I've seen guys come in who have completely given up, only to see them back in the game after going through our treatment program. So call West Coast Men's Health today.
Now also treating chronic pain, including neuropathy, fibromyalgia, and plantar fasciitis. Call 619-350-8662. 619-350-8662. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
The share it with a friend deal. Even if that friend is yourself. Your McDonald's, your rules.
And if your McDonald's is all about the classics, we got a deal for you. Buy one wild-caught Filet-O-Fish, tender 10-piece chicken McNuggets, or mouth-watering Big Mac, get a second for $1, or mix and match. Perfect for sharing with, well, yourself. Prices and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Here's what I do when I can't stop thinking about McDonald's frozen drinks. Oh, I grab one. And sometimes I do a little two-step. It's like every sip is my personal turn-up because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
Sip into summer with the chillest drinks, like our new frozen Hawaiian Punch or a frozen Fanta Blue Raspberry at participating McDonald's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This could be the season our team throws a perfect game. Register now to win a new Ken Grody Ford truck, valued at $65,000. If it's a perfect game, it's a perfect Ken Grody Ford truck. Enter to win now at 973thefansd.com and click the contest page.
Hello, San Diego. I'm Cowabunga Dave from Coconut Pete Surf Shop, and I have pertinent information.
When you have the urge and don't want to splurge, come beat the heat at Coconut Pete's.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
All right, we are halfway home on a Tuesday. I'm surprised. Yesterday's show kind of dragged for me, and that's with 3 games to talk about. Today's flying by. Jesse Rogers from ESPN did a great job, so dialed in on the world of trades. I'm trying to take the emotion out of it. I love the trade deadline. I mean, not just because, we're here and cover this baseball team. It's just I've always just enjoyed it. I think it's wild when
because you live in San Diego.
Well, that, and I just always have.
No,
I've always enjoyed the trade deadline, seeing guys in new uniforms. It's always an exciting time around here. Certainly this year certainly could be different. You do wonder, man. You let your mind wander to the place where the Padres are sitting here 10, 12 games above 500. The conversation in this room and on this radio station throughout the day is, what do we need to get for Shohei Ohtani? Like that, what do we need to give up? It's a no-brainer. If we're 10 games over 500 today, that's the guy we're targeting, right? Period. The end.
Yeah.
10 games over 500. We're in here saying we need to get Shohei Ohtani in here.
Certainly fills everything that the Padres probably need.
Hey, but by the way, it fills everything that every team probably needs. Every team.
Well, even more
Shohei
so for the
Ohtani.
Padres, though, who badly need a left-handed designated hitter and one more starting pitcher.
100%.
And he's the only guy in history who really fills both roles.
Correct.
Like, what are the Braves going to do at the trade deadline? Or are they just this is our squad?
No, they're already making moves.
They got Pierce Johnson.
They added 2 arms yesterday, and neither of which having a great season. But I like the
Braves going to make a big splash.
I like the moves, though. I like hey, our bullpen is decimated right now. We need the help. I'm not waiting another week. Let's get this done now. Let's get these guys, ready and ingrained in the Atlanta Braves way of playing baseball, and try to bolster this bullpen a little bit. And a change of scenery for both guys could be spectacular. Probably none more than Pierce Johnson. I think Pierce Johnson's very happy to not be pitching in Colorado anymore, even though he's a Denver kid. I actually texted with his agent yesterday. He said he's ecstatic to go to an organization like that, beyond in the hunt, right? Like they are going to be a playoff team. Tragedy notwithstanding. So, listen, I like the proactive moves of Alex Anthopoulos. He's proven himself to be a really good GM.
I don't know. See, now that's another thing that you have to consider here if you're AJ Preller. It's not simply everything we can do to make up 6 games and sneak into the playoffs. If the goal, that's not the goal. The goal for the Padres is to win the World Series. Can you beat the Braves? Can you get past the team that has been clearly heads and shoulders above everyone else?
You beat the team last year that was clearly heads and shoulders above anyone else.
I think there's an argument.
What a good example.
Padres won the season series against the Braves early in the year without Fernando Tatis Jr. So you can make an argument that in a short series, absolutely, the Padres, anything can happen in October. Absolutely, you can do it. But if you are spending, more and more resources chasing after something that the probability is going down and down, that's never smart business to do that. You throw resources at something as you feel like your chances are getting better, which is why I go back to what I said early in the show. The players that are on the team now, they have to earn, a trade, an additional piece by showing that they're playing well. It's not something you don't make a trade to fix a team. You make a trade to reward a team that is playing well. And the Padres do not deserve at the moment a trade to try to improve their chances. They need to show me something else, that they have earned the trust of AJ Preller, that he feels okay spending some resources to make an additional move. And I'm not talking about, maybe one, low-level bat that goes in and adds to a piece for a single-A guy we've never heard of. I'm talking about if you're going to make a somewhat significant move, you need your players to earn that trust from you.
That's fair.
Would you believe, I think it was about a week ago, we last looked at the playoff odds.
Yeah.
And they were sitting at 25%.
Yeah.
I remember you and I both, Woods, you were like, I'd buy that.
Yeah, buy that.
It's gone up. Wow. We're 32% chance to make
that's a function of, as I said,
the other
having
teams.
the 3 playoff spots all up for grabs and the other teams coming back. Everyone said, no, I mean, you're sick. You haven't gotten it. You're not making up any ground here. You're hurting your chances. The Padres playoff chances are going up thanks to the other teams right now.
25% a week ago. I would have expected it today. I was waiting for like the 16%.
Yeah, me too.
chance.
Yeah, when it gets down to single digits and whatnot. But again, you're right. You're right, Ben, about earning that cookie is what it is. I mean, it's, hey, let's. But then again, if you can go out and add a piece that can help you even next year, you don't need to earn that. If there's a semi-controllable person on the market that you can make a move for that can help you this year and next year, it's been done before many, many times. So AJ Preller, if we had him on right now and we asked him, you know what he would say? We're always looking for ways to improve the ball club for this season and beyond. That's standard answer. So one of our listeners just tweeted in an interesting thought. Trade Josh Hader, get the haul back that you need, for him, and then maybe you flip some prospects over to Pittsburgh and get David Bednar back, who was a San Diego Padre, who's under control, and I don't think he's a free agent until 27. That's a pretty savvy move, certainly, and helps scratch the itch of adding another big arm, and then you got a guy that can close. And yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can get creative right now, but I think people need to get out of their heads. Whatever they do at the deadline needs to help them only this year, because, by the way, we haven't done our 2024 season preview. I'll tell you something right now. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great with the guys that are potentially gone. Doesn't look good.
It looks worse than this year.
It looks worse than this year.
And that's not a good feeling.
100%.
The other concern, obviously last year when the Milwaukee Brewers traded Josh Hader, there seemed to be like an emotional gut punch to that team. I'm not as worried about that with the Padres. They're not in the same spot that the Brewers. The Brewers were in a much better spot than the Padres are now when they traded Josh Hader last year. I mean, can the emotions of this team get a lot worse than they are right now? You may need something to shake things up at this point. And maybe a Josh Hader trade has as Jesse Rogers suggested, maybe it has the opposite effect. Maybe it actually, is a wake-up call to some people and, changes some things that need to be changed in the Padres organization. So I'm not totally worried about that. Like, oh, you're taking the rug out from under this team. What rug?
Man,
they're not standing on a rug right now. They're on roller skates and they're sliding around on an ice rink.
But there's no way to handicap this team, right? There's just no way. We've all tried throughout the season to put our finger on the pulse of the San Diego Padres in 2023. There's just no way. They are truly the most confounding baseball team I've ever seen in my entire life. You've got all-star players that are not playing up to form at all. You've got weird, bad baseball decisions being made on the field. You have a bench of Taylor Colway, Matt Batten, and on we go. Matt Carpenter. It's hard to handicap. So if they traded Hader, I don't think the clubhouse would erupt in joy, but I don't think they would pack up their bags and go home. They've been mediocre. They're going to stay mediocre or get better.
The lack of depth is definitely on AJ Preller.
So gnarly.
But the lack of depth didn't make Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, and Manny Machado struggle the last 2 days against,
pedestrian
starting
man.
pitching.
It's what
the
it
lack
is.
of depth didn't affect that. It's up to those guys to come through when the Padres need them to come through. And while they have enough times that their numbers actually, that's the crazy. The numbers on all those guys look pretty decent at this point.
Surface level.
But when they've really needed them, to step up and fuel a winning streak, they've all shrunk at the wrong moments this year. Even Tatis, the last couple of days. Feels like the kid is clutch. He's got the best batting average with runners in scoring position on the team. Seems to come through more than anybody else. But even the last 2 days.
What do you see? 2 pretty critical at bats last night, late in the game. I think you saw 3 pitches total.
Yep. Rolled over to shortstop 3 times and popped out on a 2-0 pitch. That wasn't a good pitch to swing at.
They're just
not great at bats from Fernando. And by the way, I think his OPS in July is still like 860. It's fine, but he's only hit 2 home runs this month. Hasn't played his best baseball when the Padres have needed it, and that has been the story of this season. Not just for him. I'm not singling him out.
No,
for everybody.
But man, I'm telling you, the biggest problem with this team is not being able to. They showed the graphic last night on the broadcast. Not beating teams with below 500. Their record is atrocious.
Third worst.
Yeah.
Better than just like the A's and the Royals.
Yeah, pretty much.
Against teams that are under 500.
It was A's, Royals, Padres, Mets, and you're like, that's not the company you want to be in.
I mean, is that just a lack of? Is that reading your own press clippings? Is it just taking your opponent too lightly? I don't know what it is.
Do other teams struggle against no-name guys making their 4th big league start?
How about their,
I don't follow
Paulie, how
other
about their
teams
second?
as much.
How about their second big league start, like we saw last night?
Like, I'm not following other teams like I follow the Padres. I'm genuinely asking. Did
It's
the
a
Braves
thing.
go up against the guy making his 4th career start? He's 1-3 with a 9 ERA, and he just goes out there and looks like freaking Nolan Ryan.
It's happened a bunch.
But why does it happen to the Padres? It seems like every week.
It's happened for the Padres. I remember back in the day when Rodrigo Lopez would come up and first 2 starts, world beater, and then they figure him out. And,
it happens the other way too. Not a lot this year. I mean, Jackson Wolf. He gave up
kind of helped
runs,
a little bit.
but,
Jackson Wolf, a little bit of surprise. Hadn't seen his funky delivery. Probably helped him out against the Detroit Tigers on Saturday for sure.
That's what with a loss like that. I mean, I've seen Twitter just like, "Where's our advanced scouting?" And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in the clubhouse. I don't know what kind of info Manny gets on Quinn Priester.
We've been told that they all
getting
said
the
that
info.
they get the
info.
They get all the info. The players tell us.
Bro, if it was me,
us.
I'd be like, I don't get any info. That's the reason we suck against these guys.
Wasn't my fault.
These guys aren't giving me the S I need to win. So I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not in there. I have no idea. So you got to figure it out though. I mean, at some point it's the devil sometimes when you're going up against a guy you've seen a bunch. And you're like, all right, I know how he's going to try to get me out. And then it becomes a chess match. Last night is more like, I'm going to go up there. If I see a pitch I can handle, I'm going to hack it. And boy, they got off to a really, really good start with Ha-Seong Kim muscling that one out of the yard. And we haven't talked about the base running in the 7th from Ha-Seong Kim. And it sucks because he had such a good game. But holy smokes, man. Those are the plays for me that make me want to just run into traffic. They really do. It makes me like.
Didn't bother me.
How? Juan Soto's at the plate.
Great. So you're trying. I like the aggressiveness.
Down 4, 8-4, 8-4 in the 7th.
8-4 in the 7th. You got runners on runner on 3rd, or runner
just a runner on 1st.
That's it.
No.
I thought there was another runner.
No one in scoring position.
Are you sure?
Yes. Just Ha-Seong Kim on 1st.
I didn't mind the aggressiveness. Of course, it looks better if he's safe, but otherwise, I mean,
like you can always make the argument in modern baseball. Anytime you're thrown out on the base paths is a mistake because everybody hits home runs and you're costing your team potentially a 2-run home run. But in that situation, you're trying to get into a position where a single at least scores 1 run. Now, if it's the 9th inning, you don't go. You need 4 runs. That 1 run doesn't mean anything. In the 7th inning, though, you still want to play some aggressive baseball. I can defend the decision. You cannot get thrown out, but I can defend if you think
fine with you going.
If you think you're going to make it for sure, I can defend going.
Yes, of course.
Obviously,
hindsight, bad move.
He didn't make it. He didn't.
Out.
You don't run yourself into an out with Juan Soto at the dish, and then Manny Machado behind him down 4 runs. You just don't. Juan Soto hits a 2. I swear to God, there was a guy on 3rd. Maybe I'm wrong.
Happened.
Let's say he hits a 2-run homer. So now it's 8-6.
Happened in Detroit on Friday when Fernando Tatis Jr. was on 1st. Juan Soto was at the plate, and Fernando Tatis Jr. barely made it at second base, stolen base. Soto homered on the next play. No one talked about it because he made it, but it was obviously Hey, you could have just stood on first base and scored on a 450-foot home run. You didn't have to go,
Well,
but
there's your
no one complained about it
Grisham flew
then
out.
because he made it.
Okay.
Grisham flew out. Kim walked. Tatis flew out.
That's
and then
right.
He got caught stealing.
So, but again, you just said, what did Juan Soto do?
He homered.
He homered.
Right.
How do you?
But no one complained about Tatis going. We should be ripping Fernando Tatis Jr. for even thinking of going in that situation.
What inning?
It was the first inning.
Okay, different.
Different?
Yeah, massively different. Massively different.
I mean,
you're down 4 runs. You got a guy on. That's how a rally starts. Juan Soto hits a double.
It's 2 outs, though, and just a runner on first base. I mean, if you get even 1 run there, that makes the comeback easier in the next 2 innings. If you can just get that 1 run home.
What if you
now
get
you're
2
down
with a
3?
Juan Soto homer who's been hitting homers? And then Manny Machado's behind him.
I like the aggressiveness. I like Kim. If he gets to second base, puts pressure on the pitcher to not give up a
You're
base
kind
hit.
of making the
Soto
argument
walks.
to never go.
No, I'm not.
I'm not. Which I respect.
I'm not, but you're chasing 4 runs, guys. You're chasing 4 runs. If
I
you're
don't-
up 4 runs, I have no problem you get thrown out. None. Putting the pressure on.
I'd have a bigger problem if they were down 1.
The score shouldn't matter that much. You're always trying to score as many runs as possible. So
Well,
if
I
it's,
get that.
if it's a bad idea to go in the 7th inning, then it's a bad idea to go in the 1st inning
No.
or the 3rd inning. Unless it's the 9th, really, unless it's the 9th inning, you should always be doing what is going to help you score the most runs in an inning.
I disagree. I mean, Juan Soto's at the plate and you get thrown out at second base.
Then
down,
never go.
Down 4.
Then never go.
Sure. With Juan
Juan
Soto,
Soto
at the plate.
Then never try to
Sure.
steal with
Fine.
Juan Soto at the plate.
Now 2 outs.
Or Tatis. What does it matter whether there's 2 outs?
Because you just ran yourself out of an inning.
Yeah, but
Juan Soto didn't get to swing the bat.
if there was 1 out, would it have been way better?
No, but now the inning's over. The inning's over.
Yeah, but Juan Soto still came up the next inning, with nobody on, just like he would have come up if he'd gone with 1 out,
Right,
thrown out.
But still, how do you
doesn't
not
change the
how do you-
situation, though.
How do you not see that they ran themselves out of
Yeah,
an inning
I
on the
do,
baseline?
but you're arguing
Down
that
4.
never steal with a power hitter at the plate because they can always score you from first. I said I respect that argument.
I
but
think that's
you're not
probably
agreeing
how I
that that's
feel.
what your argument is.
I think that's probably how I feel. If I break it down, when a guy's behind you, you're chasing runs. Why the F would you ever run yourself into an out? Ever. When you have,
if you're up 2-0, why would you
Soto
do it?
And Manny Machado behind you, the hottest hitter in July in baseball.
Then don't ever go. There's a lot of baseball people, sabermetricians, who would say, don't ever steal. It's never, unless you're 100% and no one's 100%, you're costing yourself runs by even trying to steal. But when you don't, it really looks like you're a very stagnant team that just stands around waiting for something to happen. And that, Padres tried that early in the season. Remember when Bob Melvin was like, hey, the numbers say we don't go. And then they started running a little bit more and felt like the offense picked up because of it. It's a fine line there between doing what the numbers tell you to do and doing what feels like exciting good baseball.
You're telling me the numbers, exciting good baseball is not what I care about. I care about winning.
The numbers basically tell you don't go.
Yeah. Then you shouldn't go.
Never.
With Juan Soto.
No one with anybody at the plate. Don't steal.
No, that's not true.
It's really pretty true. It is really pretty true.
I think there's a time and place. And by the way, I mean, Hassan Kim, great night. Not on the board.
I mean, you
without
have
him.
You have to make it like 90 to 95% of the time for it to be an added value to steal. Otherwise, you're costing yourself too many outs and too many runs on the back end.
Yeah, there are guys. I mean, look, I'm ultimately, these guys are on their own out there to make the smart decision, just like he was when he got thrown out at third to kill a rally a week ago against the Mets. Listen, I understand trying to make a play here and there. I understand trying to press the issue. But when you're down 4 and your meat of the order is coming up, anchor your ass to first base and see what happens. And if Juan Soto, hey, is it out of the realm of possibility, guys, that Juan Soto would draw a walk in that, since he leads the universe in walks? And then who's coming up? Manny Machado. One swing, you're down a run with 9 outs to play with or 8 outs to play with.
Very well thought out argument. And I don't disagree with you.
How do you look at that and go, hey, that's a heads up aggressive play? It's stupid.
I don't.
Dumb play.
I don't. If you get thrown out, it is clearly a dumb play. If you thought you were going to make it, you can make the argument that it's not a bad play.
Pass ball, it squirts away from the catcher. Fine.
All right, let's take a timeout. We just saw some pretty shocking news from the world of basketball involving the LeBron James family. We'll have that for you when we come back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. A real sobering stunner while we were talking with Jesse Rogers and discussing the Padres. The breaking news from Shams Charania, USC All-American Bronny James collapsed on the court yesterday and had a cardiac arrest. He's taken to the hospital and is now in stable condition, no longer in the ICU. Statement was released. James' family asking for privacy. We'll update the media when there's more information. LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. So freshman at USC, probably, early in his practicing, getting ready for his maybe one and only season that he was expecting to be in college basketball, and suffers a heart attack, cardiac arrest while working out. That is an absolute terrifying stunner this morning from the world of basketball and the biggest name in basketball.
That is absolutely horrific, man. Obviously, good thoughts are with him, his family. That is no father ever wants to get that text, I'm sure. Just terrible. What the heck, man? That's awful. How do you even, where do we go from here?
I mean, I guess good sign that he's not in the ICU anymore, if there's anything you can read into that. Otherwise, we don't have any other information.
I have no idea.
I mean, we've seen it. One of the things I remember vividly growing up is Hank Gathers.
Oh, yeah.
Passing away. Loyola Marymount, the story, and Bo Kimball, and them going on that run then in the NCAA tournament. But just the shocking, an athlete in his prime. It does happen. It has happened, every once in a while. Just you never know what condition someone might have, congenital. It does occur, and it has occurred, and it's rare, but it does happen. And when it's someone that we've all heard of and are following very closely, it's even scarier here for everybody. So obviously, we echo those best sentiments and wishes to the LeBron James family and to Bronny James for a quick recovery, and hopefully he will be able to continue his basketball career. I guess they'll have to figure out what caused it first, and see whether, if DeMar Hamlin can come back and play football.
Yeah, for sure.
Not going to say anything's impossible going forward for Bronny James, but I'm sure that family is just as tough as it can be right now, just waiting and praying and hoping.
No doubt about it. Wishes for health and, to get back on the court if that's what you desire and you're allowed to do so. But yeah, it's just a horrific story. Horrific. I thought it was fake when I saw it. I had to double, triple check.
Now that you're back on X this morning for the first time in months, you see a story like that, I would think my first inclination would be
double check.
Oh, is that Shams Charania or somebody
different
fake accounts that's trying to fool people? But no, that's it. It's a real story this morning.
Real deal, buddy.
Yikes. Puts everything in perspective a little bit.
It does. I'm glad this was a short segment.
I have, can I tell a nice story?
Sure.
We have 2 minutes here before
nice stories.
Jesse Agler is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. So last night at Channel 10, I need to give a shout out to my colleagues. So, we have news from like 4 o'clock until 6:30 every night, 2.5 straight hours. At about 5:15 last night, the power went out to our control room, our main control room that is currently running a live newscast. Kimberly Hunt's on talking to a guest, and all of a sudden I'm watching on, my monitor in my office.
Did you guys download the PSPS app from SDG&E.com?
And all of a sudden, just quickly kind of cuts to commercial a little abruptly. So that's weird. What happened? Well, behind the scenes, the control room where they're doing all the switches and dials, where they're switching all the cameras, running the prompter, the tapes, everything, it all goes down. And they've got moments to react. This was amazing. So everyone just ran into high gear. They switched to like a backup room, different places. Kimberly started ad-libbing, no prompter.
Wow.
The floor director had to like pick up her cell phone and start calling to the back because the radios are a little walkie-talkie communication. That was out. Everything was out. So they had to improvise, essentially. They were back on by the end of the commercial break. They made it through all the way through the show. I don't think anyone watching really probably would have noticed a difference of what they put on. The engineers jumped to it, started fixing whatever caused the power break, interruption. By the time we got to about the 6 o'clock show, when I was on, I had to move to a different location because the cameras were frozen. So I had to stand in a different place because they couldn't move the cameras around. They were kind of stuck in position. But I got on, everything went okay. And by 7, everything was working perfectly again. Amazing work that you will never see or never hear about behind the scenes. People who know how to do their jobs, jumping into action, performing under pressure. It was really cool, and very proud of the people I worked with last night for pulling that off.
You would have seen me in my car. I would have said, well, that's it for me. Remember when
that day's over. Yep.
Remember when it would cut out at the Corona Cave, and I was like, we're going home. I'm not going to sit here and have this thing drop every 8 minutes. And I panicked. You don't want me there. That's why TV, Ben, the true professionals.
And like everywhere else in media, not as much staffing as we used to have. So many people are trying to fix everything all at once.
What did you do? Just stay out of the way?
I didn't really know what was happening until I came out for my 6 o'clock sportscast, and I had to go, why do you need me over here? They said, oh, the cameras are frozen because we lost all the power. You didn't know? I go, no, I saw us go to that weird break, but everything seemed fine after that. So I was as in the dark as everybody else, really.
Ben comes out wiping like chicken breast and blueberries off his mouth.
No,
what happened?
There's nothing I could have done to fix anything.
Yeah, stay out of the way.
I have no idea how any of the electronic equipment works. I'm not an engineer, so yeah, I did my part by just staying out of everybody's way.
Always the best move.
All right, we'll come back. Jesse Agler will join us. It's an Incorporator Tuesday. Sure, he has some thoughts as well on this baffling baseball team that we call our own. That's coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Want to stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long? Give us a follow in the Odyssey app for easy access to clips, show reminders, and more. Simply download the Odyssey app. Follow Ben and Woods to listen to us no matter where you are. You don't want to miss our weekly interview with Jesse Agler, the voice of the Padres. We usually do that Tuesdays around 8:35 to 8:40, which is right now. So Jesse's going to join us after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Denick.
Getting reports of a dump truck that has spun out northbound side of the 805 near Palm Avenue. It's blocking the 2 left lanes. Also traveling on westbound 905 before the 805, some debris reported in the middle lanes. And a hit-and-run crash eastbound 8 near Waring Road, not showing if lanes are blocked. I'm Kelly Danick, with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's go out to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. He is finally home after a very long and arduous road trip to 3 cities on the East Coast. Jesse Agler is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back to San Diego, Jesse. I wish the Padres had a nicer, warmer welcome for everybody last night.
Yeah, a lot of slum gum out there last night, Jesse.
We were stepping in the slum gum again.
Slum gum everywhere.
Yeah, I got to clean the bottoms of my shoes pretty good here.
There's just honeycomb and leftover bee parts all over your feet. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Like you said, it was a really, really long trip. The Philly portion in particular with the doubleheader and then the rain delay the next day. But I think the good thing was it was so long of a trip that by the time we left Detroit and came home on Sunday night, I had already kind of forgotten all about Philadelphia. Like, it felt so long ago that it was almost like disconnected from Toronto and Detroit. Yeah. So maybe in a weird way that was.
Well, the Padres will give you something new to want to forget about, very quickly. As you'll be forgetting about the Pittsburgh series in a few days, Jesse.
It's it's weird right now. It's really weird right now. I think in the bottom of the 9th inning last night, Tony and I were not trying to put a bow on it because I don't think you can put a bow on something like this, but the word confounding came out of my mouth. And I don't know that, we talk about the incorporator. I don't know that that's a word that I had ever thrown out before. I mean, baseball will give us plenty of mystery. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we love that about the sport, right? That's one of the things that I think makes it so fun to follow, is that you really have no idea what's coming on any given day. And one of the things I like to say is, this game, anytime you think you've figured something out about it, it'll smack you in the face and remind you that you don't know anything. But very rarely have I felt truly confounded. And then after the Sunday game in Detroit, the game last night, I mean, that was the word that came out of my mouth. And look, it's not a defeatist thing to say. Like, I actually think this team is in an okay position considering how poorly they've played for most of the year. We got to keep reminding ourselves there's an awful lot of playoff opportunity that is sitting out there with this expanded postseason format. But, that's not what anybody expected against Faedo and Priester. It just isn't, over those 2 games. And then you throw the Darvish wrinkle in there yesterday. And that's just a reminder of how, again, this game, every time you think you know something, will remind you know nothing at all.
Yeah, 100%. It makes our job tough, makes your job tough. But certainly, I mean, at the end of the day, we get to cover baseball, and that's ultimately a very good thing. Talking to our pal Jesse Agler here on Ben and Woods. Speaking of Darvish, that was uncharacteristic of you, obviously, and had a good start out the time before. What were you seeing, and what were you and Tony talking about? I mean, it just looked. They were on everything. They were absolutely on everything, barreling balls from Jump Street last night, Jesse.
I mean, Tony was on it, I think, probably in the top of the 2nd inning. He just couldn't command his breaking stuff, particularly the slider and the sweeper. And it was even becoming obvious to me. And when something like that is obvious to me, you better believe it's obvious to Carlos Santana and Brian Reynolds. And so, and he kept going to it. He kept trying to figure it out, it looked like, because he's Yu Darvish. Yeah. And for his entire life, he's been able to figure it out. It was a really weird one. I certainly chalk it up to something of an anomaly. I mean, we've never seen, we've seen him struggle before, sure, but not really in that way where he just had no command of his breaking stuff. And he lives off of his breaking stuff. I mean, as much as maybe anybody in baseball, even with everybody throwing more breaking stuff, Darvish throws even more than most guys do and really relies on it to set up the other things. So, it just wasn't happening for him last night. He kept trying to figure it out, and it just never clicked into place for him. So it kind of feels like a one-off thing. He had a weird one last year early on in the season in San Francisco. It was cold. It was windy. He got knocked around really good. And you kind of knew as it was happening, like, all right, this is just one of those nights. I had the very same feeling yesterday. And then, we kind of looked at each other in the fourth or the fifth inning and said, all right, the onus is going to be on the offense to cover for Yu Darvish. He's covered for them many, many times over the last couple of years. And Ha-Seong Kim, did what he could. But for the most part, outside of that, there just wasn't much happening offensively. This is a team that should be able to erase a deficit like that, particularly against a bullpen like that. Not that it's an easy thing to do or an automatic thing to do, but it just didn't happen last night.
That's what I was trying to explain to somebody last night is I think I would have probably pulled him earlier. Obviously we have the benefit of hindsight, but he was getting smacked around. But, you make the point too. And I tried to make it this morning of, he's been able to find it so many times in his career that Bob Melvin looks down at the bullpen and goes, I'll take you, Darvish, trying to find it better, more than some of the guys I've got down there to try to cover the rest of the innings, if you have to pull them out in the fourth inning or something like that. So that's what I was trying to say without making excuses for Bob Melvin with a not so quick hook last night.
Yeah, I don't know that many managers, if any, would have had a quick hook for him last night. Again, clearly something was off, but this is a guy, as much as almost anybody in baseball, that you trust to figure it out. And it was weird that he didn't. It was unusual that he didn't. And I don't say this to speak poorly of Pedro Avila or, anybody else out there who is maybe going to be able to give a multiple innings. But like you said, you're probably going to stick with Yu Darvish, one of the best pitchers of his generation, trying to figure it out again against the Pirates, who aren't exactly a powerhouse, than you are against a guy who's only thrown a couple of big league innings this year.
Jesse, let's talk about something positive. You alluded to it a little bit, but the Big Four has almost become a Big Five now, including Ha-Seong Kim, who, if you look at his numbers now, he is having a remarkable season. And the only thing that you could say really before the last few weeks was, well, he just doesn't have the power necessarily to be an elite Major League Baseball player. He now has 14 home runs. His OPS is over 800. He leads the team in B-WAR, might be the defensive best player in all of baseball defensively. He's walking. He's getting on base. He's doing it from the leadoff spot. My question, because obviously that's all great, do you see this as being sustainable? Is this the Ha-Seong Kim, give or take, that we can probably expect going forward? And should the Padres start thinking about, locking another player up long term?
I don't know. It certainly appears to me that he has taken a very significant step forward this year. Now, look, I think last year, 22, he did take a step forward from 21, raised his batting average about 50 points, hit a couple more homers, hit a bunch more doubles. And it was like, okay, there was a step forward last year, but there were still some deficiencies, particularly against velocity, big fastballs. He was still really, really struggling last year. And this year, he's taken another step forward. Overall, the batting average last year, 252. I think he comes into play tonight at 270. The power is up, and he's hitting velocity as well as you could ever ask him to do. And he's worked his tail off to do that. He hits off that velo machine, it sounds like, every single day, down underneath, where the machine throws you a high-octane fastball. And he just does it every day. And it has certainly shown on the field that he's able to handle pitches like that in a way that he really couldn't a year ago or even at the beginning of this year. The defense, as you said, has been extraordinary. One of the best defensive players in baseball this year, and a guy who can do it at three different positions on the infield, as well at third as he does at second, and as well at second as he does at short. And that wasn't even the case early this year. He struggled in the first month of the season at second base. There were some ugly moments over there defensively for him where he didn't get to some balls, and it was kind of like, what is going on? This guy's a great defender. And it was just a matter of adjustment and working. And, it's a really good reminder for all of us in this game. It's not just going to be automatic all the time. And, if a guy of a certain talent and caliber is able to put in the work and does put in the work, you're going to see improvement. And that's what we've seen both offensively and defensively from Kim this year. The power is impressive. He hit 30 his last year in the KBO. I think prior to that, he had never hit more than 23 in Korea. I don't know that we can expect him to ever be a 30 homer guy here, although obviously that would be pretty extraordinary. But he has certainly taken another step forward, and he's a critical piece, as you said. You talk about him now, I think fairly, especially with the way their bats are going, with those other four guys, and having Kim out of the leadoff spot against lefties and righties really does extend the lineup in a significant way. And if if the other 4 are all doing, what we all expect them to do, that's going to be a really, really difficult thing for any opposing pitcher to handle.
Talking to our pal Jesse Agler here on Ben and Woods this morning. Trade deadline season, Jesse, for a baseball fan growing up, always fun, right? I mean, we all love the trade deadline this year. Should be good. I mean, there's going to be guys on the move. There's going to be teams unloading. There's a lot of rumors flying around about the Padres, what they should not do. And, you don't have to mention any names or anything like that. But when you look at it, it's certainly never a dull moment in San Diego for this week, ever. I mean, we're all on pins and needles seemingly every year. This year feels a little different than years prior, but I still expect it to be a fairly exciting time around these parts in the next week.
I mean, that's the case everywhere. It really is. I mean, unless you're just totally out of it and you don't have anything to give up. If you're like a true bottom feeder, but even those teams, like the Tigers are probably, going to trade a starter, maybe 2, maybe a reliever as well. So it's like, all right, like that's kind of interesting if you're a Tiger fan. Like, what are we going to get back? But you're right. I mean, it's been a huge part of the storyline here each of the last couple of years, as it is generally for any contending team. Just to go back to something I kind of breezed through a little while ago, I think we all, as fans of this sport of MLB, are still sort of recalibrating our brains to this playoff format. There are going to be years, and I don't know that this is going to be one of them, but I'm telling you right now, there are going to be years when like 80, 81, 82 wins gets you in.
Sure.
And like I said, we'll see where it ends up this year. I think last year was 87 in the NL, 86 in the American League. But like, it's going to happen. And so for a team who's sort of hovering around or just below 500 in the last week of July, and that's where the Padres are at, of course, this year. In the past, you would have said, all right, hey, do we have some pieces to sell? Let's see what we can recoup. Let's see what value we can get back for them. And I don't know that that's the case anymore, both in terms of the trade deadline and just in terms of how we talk about this team right now. Are they underperforming expectations on the outside? Of course they are. Nobody expected them to be in this position, not even close. But are they in it? They are. Like, even though they haven't won 4 in a row this year, even though they haven't gone on the run that everybody's waiting for them to go on, like, they're in it in the National League. And, that is a result very much of this playoff format and the number of opportunities that exist in front of them. And quite frankly, those other teams that are in front of them, none of them are powerhouses. They really aren't. So I think, as it comes to the trade deadline, as it comes to the way we talk about this team and where they're at, we have to still sort of remind ourselves on a fairly regular basis that this is not the same as when there was one wild card.
Yeah.
Or certainly from before the wild card era. I mean, it is wild, wild west out there right now. And that's frankly exactly, I think, what Major League Baseball wanted.
Very good points from Jesse Agler. And wouldn't it be very Padres for them to come back and win the last 2 games and take this series and get us all hyped up again? Only, you can't keep breaking our hearts unless you keep giving us hope as well. So hopefully the hope comes again over these next 2 days. I will turn things over to Woods right now because it is time to play the Incorporator.
This, I have no idea how to pronounce the word. None whatsoever. I sent it to Paulie to load. Pretty easy. Once I saw the definition, I went, oh, we've got one of these guys on our team. Jesse will have no problem with this, but it'll be really fun to hear you say this word.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia. I thought it was triskaidekaphobia. It's the fear of the number 13, right?
Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Why are you going against what the lady is saying?
I don't think the lady is saying it right. I think I know better than the lady.
Triskaidekaphobia.
I think I know better than Google.
Yeah. Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia.
I've always heard triskaidekaphobia.
Okay, either one.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Close, yeah.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia. I'll text it to you because it is a mouthful.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Yeah, it's an extreme superstition regarding the number 13. Now, we know somebody that does not have an extreme superstition regarding the number 13. Many people do. But Manny Machado clearly does not. Hottest hitter in the month of July in Major League Baseball.
I bet when you go on the road, Jesse, and stay in team hotels, you will often get in the elevator and it will skip from floor 12 to number 14 in many of those hotels. Because
isn't that ridiculous, by the way?
It is.
Like,
it's
really
absolutely absurd.
Because if you're on the 14th floor, you're really on the 13th
Correct.
floor, no matter what they say.
Correct. It's still the
You can get
13th
rid of
floor.
the button in the elevator. It is still, if you count the floors, if you get the blueprints out.
Yes, there would be
still there.
13
You think
floors.
the ghost cares what the button in the elevator
He comes to
says?
haunt
He just
the
goes
building.
straight to the 13th
No, he comes
floor.
to haunt the building. He goes, oh.
They don't have a
They're on
13 in
me.
the elevator.
They got me. Do you, real quick, before we let you go, and have fun working that one in tonight, Jesse?
Well, yeah, G-Man Choi, by the way, hopefully he plays because he's a big ghost guy. He's had a lot of ghost issues.
Oh,
the Pirates.
yes, he has.
So, yeah, he's
That's
one of the
right.
big ghost guys.
Do you forget your room number like Bob Melvin does when you're on the road?
Oh, he told us, last week. By the time you get to the end of a long road trip,
He's got no idea.
He's got no idea what his room number is anymore.
So I have a system because, yes, of course you forget what room you're in. So I just put it in the notes in my app.
Yep.
Like in my phone.
He keeps that little tiny folder that the key comes in that they write it in, so he never goes anywhere without the little folder.
So if you found his wallet, you could go break in his room because it's got his room number right there. Thank you, buddy. Have a great call tonight. I know you will.
Yeah, all right, guys. Take it easy.
All right, buddy.
Jesse Agler on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
I'm shocked, like you guys, to find out that Jesse Agler has a system. Right. He never makes a mistake. I love that,
Goes
man.
right into the notes app
Yep.
of his phone.
I love that,
What
man.
hotel room number he is staying in.
I'll often take a picture. That's one thing I will do. I will also where I park, I will take a picture of where I park because your boy has walked around many a parking lot hitting that panic button on my phone.
Where is
on my fob because I didn't know where my car was. So I will now take a picture of where I'm parked. It's good. It's a good bit.
It rarely happens to me, but when it does, it's the worst feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Where is my car?
Yeah.
Did it get stolen? Am I crazy?
No.
Where is it?
Triskaidekaphobia.
All right, Paulie's got a Reindl report coming up. Our final hour of Ben and Woods is ahead. Saquon Barkley, wouldn't call him a big winner necessarily in the running back game of the NFL, but there is some news. Get to that and more coming up next on 97 Through the Fan.
Got a very angry hillbilly coming up in the Reindl Report today. Very, very incensed hillbilly. Can't wait for that story.
Looking at some trade rumors, Jeff Passan posted an insider piece at ESPN.com this morning of the Padres. He says that teams have called about Josh Hader and Blake Snell, but as of this point, the Padres really aren't actively listening to trade offers from other teams about those two players. Now, Jesse Rogers told us earlier that he thinks the Padres should listen on Josh Hader, should not listen on Blake Snell. They need to keep their starting pitching at least for the end of the season.
Well, he likes the idea, and he, I guess, probably hasn't watched much Padres baseball this year. He likes the idea, Ben, of cobbling together some outs in the ninth inning with what you got. And
called it a soft sell.
Yeah, it is a soft sell. And get rid of Hader, who's going to fetch a big return. If you're going to move somebody, I'd say out of the two, I would probably lean in that direction because, your hope. We haven't really used Josh Hader much at all, to be honest with you. We're not really in those close one-run games. So your idea that you get a bunch of prospects back for him, maybe even somebody that can help you now in the bullpen or a bat or something, and then maybe you blow out teams and use Robert Suarez in the ninth if you need him, which is kind of why.
I also think his numbers are almost better than he's pitched. I mean, a 0.97 ERA. I mean, you can sell that pretty easily.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that Josh Hader isn't good, but there's been a couple of moments where he's given up some big hits this year.
There's some dicey. He
hasn't been perfect yet. Those numbers scream, top
elite,
top dollar. We are paying whatever we can pay to get this closer to be our lockdown guy for a team that needs one for a playoff run. So I certainly understand that.
And of guys that are not locked up long term, whether it's beyond this year or after next year. Josh Hader, Blake Snell, Juan Soto. We talked about Ha-Seong Kim. Like, where does Hader rank on that list of guys that you would want to sign to a long-term deal?
It's
pretty low for me just because
it's
a reliever.
I mean, I like him. I
love him.
He's fantastic, but he's going to cost a fortune.
And that's not where the Padres need to invest as much. They need to find bullpen help, but so many teams have found it with guys you haven't even heard of. I mean, half the teams the Padres face bring in a nasty closer, and I got no idea who this guy is. Where did he come from? Throwing nasty stuff. You don't have to pay top dollar for a closer. So, yeah, I don't think I would really be looking at a long-term contract for Josh Hader. Did you see the other rumor that was floating around yesterday? I wrote about it in the Big Lead. Nolan Arenado to the Dodgers.
Oh, yes.
Is one that's being talked about.
The quote I saw was that the Dodgers are enamored with Nolan Arenado and that Nolan Arenado would most likely waive his no-trade clause to go play for – Is he an LA guy? Is he
Isn't he Orange County?
Is he Orange County guy? I thought he was an LA guy.
It feels like that sounds familiar.
Anyway, Max Muncy's been
Yeah.
Max Muncy has been awful.
Yeah.
At third base. Now he's hit some home runs, but I mean defensively,
bro, that's such a massive
the Dodgers
upgrade.
infield has been really poor. I mean, obviously it hurt when Gavin Lux was lost for the season there. In spring training game against the Padres, wasn't it?
Rojas hasn't done much.
No, so an upgrade on the infield would be huge for them, and it's hard to think of a much better upgrade on the infield with guys that could be available than getting Nolan Arenado. So, that's something to keep an eye on as well.
Grew up a Dodger fan in Orange County.
Yeah. Brace ourselves for that.
Now, do they have they always have the prospect
Of course
capital.
they do.
Don't
Come
they?
on.
Then they sign Ohtani in the offseason. That's the nightmare scenario that we don't want to even talk about.
Super dupes fun, man. Super dupes. Love baseball. Gotta love baseball.
All right. Well, instead of talking about that, let's get some Reindl Report headlines.
That makes me want to kill myself. Arenado and Ohtani.
Yeah.
All right, lay it on us.
All right, gentlemen, some contract talks here, some news this morning. We'll start in the NFL. We talked about the running backs yesterday. running backs across the league got on a Zoom, talked about their worth as a position, and just sucks. It really sucks for running backs. The sentiment was the better we do, the better the year that we have, the more we get screwed over.
They get dinged for
because, you ran for 2,000 yards last year. You're going to be dinged up. You're
beat up.
Yep. And so Saquon Barkley, somebody that is every year a victim of the franchise tag, it seems, he showed up to camp and he signed a adjusted franchise tag with the Giants.
Okay.
So he's going to be $10.1 million fully guaranteed for 1 year, up to $11 million with incentives. The tag was adjusted to add $2 million as a signing bonus, as well as those extra incentives.
So essentially, Saquon Barkley, he had no choice. His options were sign it or don't play and don't get paid. Don't accrue another year and just stall your career out. Now, Josh Jacobs seems to be taking that option with the Raiders. He's saying, not going to do it, not going to sign it, not going to show up, at least not for a very long time. Saquon Barkley, you know what he held out and got? He got $900,000 that he can make in incentives extra if he has a pretty phenomenal season, like 1,350 yards rushing, like 65 receptions or something.
You're saying he crossed the picket line, basically.
Well, I mean,
$900,000 in incentives includes an equal amount paid for 3 categories: 1,350 yards rushing in a playoff berth, 11 touchdowns, and 65 receptions.
All right, so let's say he meets all of those and makes his extra $300,000 per incentive. You know where they're going to go next year? Well, we used you a lot last year. I mean, you had 1,400 yards. We went to the playoffs. That's extra wear and tear. Yeah, we're just gonna franchise you you next year because we're not going to sign you to a long-term deal. We're afraid you're going to break down. It's a no-win situation for these running backs. No win at all.
Yeah, if you want a long career in the NFL that gets you really paid. I mean, again, $10 million is $10 million. I get it.
He conceded a little bit as well because it does not include a no franchise tag clause, which is what he wanted. So
didn't even get that.
They can just tag him again next season.
Oh my God.
The kickers make on average more than running backs now.
That's insane.
Either way, like you said, $10 million is $10 million. I'm sure Saquon Barkley is happy about that. If Saquon Barkley is happy about that, how do you think Jaylen Brown is feeling? What's real or fake? Jaylen Brown, who is he?
He plays for the Celtics.
Yes.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Glad you looked that up in the last commercial.
Yeah, I saw it come across my new X feed. I got X'd.
Holy crap. A new record in the NBA. Jaylen Brown and the Celtics agreed to a 5-year Supermax contract extension worth $304 million.
I'll ask you, basketball lovers, basketball men, he's worth that money?
I don't really think so, but I mean, you either are a Supermax player or you're not.
Yeah.
It's weird that the best possible contract in the NBA also describes the most secure prisons in the United States. Supermax.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
it locks you in.
Yeah, it does lock you in for many years.
Yeah, makes sense.
Is it always the best quarterback in the NFL that gets the highest record-breaking deal? No, he's just the next guy up.
Yeah.
That's how I would kind of compare it.
I mean, there's I don't know how many players now in the NBA have the full Supermax deal, but it's way more than you'd think. I mean, it's not just the top 3 or 4 players. It's like there's like a few dozen players now that have the Supermax deal. And he's certainly one of the top 20, 30 players in the NBA. So that's what you get when you are.
That's awesome.
30 teams in the NBA? I mean, there's at least 15 guys that are Supermax guys, and it's just kind of how it works. It's insane. Every year during the summer when these NBA contracts come out, you're like, who the hell is
who the hell is this guy getting $20 million a year?
Just signed for $140 million, but that is the NBA money these days, thanks to all of their TV deals.
Well, breaking Padres news for you, Paulie. Miami
this from
Marlins,
your X feed?
Yeah, the Miami Marlins have acquired Jose Castillo from our San Diego Padres. They DFA'd him, and we got back?
Nothing.
Cash.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to offer much when the alternative is he's going to be released in a few days anyway. They just jumped to the front of the line by
got some cash,
offering a little cash.
He's been optioned to AAA Jacksonville. They had an opening on their 40-man, so didn't have to drop anybody. Had want to take a chance on Jose Castillo, left-handed reliever. Did not have a good debut at all for the Padres this year. It's tough. He had worked his ass off to get back from a lot of health issues, and they're going to take a flyer on him. So we got a nice fat sack of cash. I wonder how much.
Needed to DFA him to make room for Jackson Wolf, I think, the other day, right? Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And we'll wrap it up with a local story here. I'm reading from one of Ben's colleagues, Michael Chen, on 10 News. What's going on at your beloved Encinitas Ranch?
Place near and dear to my heart. Down the street, play a lot of golf there.
We have played a lot of rounds of golf there.
Woods open there.
Have you seen the group of e-bikers who are just running amok around Encinitas Ranch and vandalizing the course?
They're
angering the golfers.
They're riding their e-bikes. Not only are they vandalizing the course, but I talked to a neighbor of mine the other day. He was one of the guys whose ball they stole. So what they did was they
that's crossing the line
100%. So they hid out in a little area on their little e-bikes. So guys all hit their drive, so down the middle of the fairway. Then the dudes take their e-bikes and they pedal their ass over across the fairway. They pick up the balls and they let the people see them like, hey, what are you doing? And the kid goes, is this your ball? And they're like, yeah. And then they take off.
Yeah.
And, you're talking about a bunch of old dudes like us. You're not going to go running after a kid for a golf ball.
Something I absolutely would have done as a teenager.
I would have. Yeah. Right. But this is where it really crosses the line. Is they were tearing up the greens on their e-bikes, just skidding out.
And that's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage.
The man first saw 4 youths on e-bikes on their 9th hole as the teens grabbed 3 golf balls that had just been hit. Said, hey, is that your golf ball? They said, maybe. And then they took off.
Right by the range in
That's
the middle
very
of the course.
brazen.
Yeah, I know, very
That's like right there where all the action is.
Brazen.
I'm surprised that one of the assistant pros there, who we know.
Do we know somebody that works
there?
there?
Run out there and, hey, y'all dumbass kids.
He said they tried to catch him, but those things go like 30, 35 miles an hour. They're running
y'all
around.
Slow down.
They can't
I
get him.
run like I used to.
They can't get him.
I talked to Foster, our pal, he's assistant pro up there. I go, what the hell's going on with this? He goes, don't even talk to him about it. Don't even ask me. I can't even talk about it. And I said, well, what's going on? What do you guys do? Listen, steps are being made, and that's all I can say. You just don't put my name in anything.
They're laying booby traps.
I could see Foster 100% as Bill Murray in Caddyshack in full camo at the top of a tree with not a rifle that's going to kill them, but maybe a BB gun of some sort. I dare you, you little sons of bitches. Get over here. Come here. Make a move. Make one move. Make one GD move.
It's funny you say that because Paul got this story from my colleague Michael Chen. You didn't see the story yesterday. Michael Chen had another golf story. So at San Vicente, which is out east of Ramona, way out there, a little older couple was playing, retired couple. They're out there. Someone in like full camo gear is hiding in the bushes and shooting people with airsoft rifles, like snipering them on the golf course.
BB gun.
Yeah, she got like hit in the neck and she was like,
in the neck.
What's going on? She like went racing after the guy. There's a guy like full military snipering golfers on the course out in East County as well.
I know golf gets a bad rap sometimes, but holy cow, can you just let us have this? This our piece,
please.
It's my piece. It's where I lose myself and find myself out on the golf course.
Reading this Encinitas Ranch story here. Mike Mack was the name of one of the golfers. It says Mack says when they talked to employees about it, there was an instant recognition. Quote, they said, those kids, they're back.
They're back.
They've been terrorizing course for 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, don't you? Hey, and I'm telling you, if you're one of those kids and you happen to be listening to this radio show, don't let Foster get his hands. Do not let it, because they'll never see you again. Okay? Hey, trust me. I know places. I ain't never gonna find anybody. Trust me. I cleaned up.
If you are one of those kids and you listen to this show, you're not a tier 1 anymore. You're out.
You're banned.
You're out.
And by the way,
it's the biggest punishment that I can think of.
If you're the parents of one of those kids, you should be ashamed of yourself.
It's even worse though if you don't know you're the parents of one of those kids, possibly.
They're like a mafia around Encinitas. It is like nothing I've ever seen. What do those things run? About $4,000?
E-bikes? Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially the good ones. It sounds like they've got some fast ones.
I'd like to rent one. And
I used to pedal my ass everywhere I went to go. If I wanted to go to 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee, I had to get on my 10-speed.
You can't do a lot of damage pedaling around the grass on a golf course.
Especially not
fall right
on a
over.
10-speed.
No.
Or even my mongoose wasn't going to tear.
When was the last time you rode a bike?
It's been.
I feel like
it's been so long.
They say, it's just like riding a bike. No. I feel like I forgot how to ride a bike.
I would
I don't think I could go straight. I don't think I can.
Could you question? Because I feel like we could dig on this. Were you a bike rider, Benjamin?
No. I mean, I've done it a few times, but I was never really good at it.
I just wish
I'm not a balanced person. Now, maybe after years of Pelotoning, would that help? Like, would all of a sudden I could I could ride a bike.
So what did you do when you were a kid? You didn't skateboard.
No, I just walked places. Walked to
Explains
7-Eleven.
Explains the cabs.
Walked. Yeah, I walked everywhere. Walked to school, walked back, walk.
You didn't want to ride a bike.
I rode my bike everywhere.
Me
You
too.
just dropped
Everywhere.
I fell a few times and I didn't like that. So
we had a
I decided
BMX
not
track
to
near my house.
really
so
pursue
me and my
that.
friends would ride there and go off dirt jumps.
Oh, we used to jump
everything.
off. You know what a tie wall is? Like this big long wooden stake. Like
I think I know what you're talking about.
And they're big in Texas, and they would separate yards and stuff. We used to ride down the driveway, jump off the tie wall into the backyard, and land and almost break your neck. Back then too, no helmets, zero. I never wore a helmet on a bike in my life. I didn't even think they had them, except if you were in the Tour de France, you had a helmet. Other than that, if you're just riding your bike around the streets, no helmet.
I really didn't like getting injured. I was very anti getting injured. Even now, today, I remain anti hurt yourself.
It was so stupid, but we would rollerblade a lot and play like street hockey or something in the street. And there's always one kid that'd show up with elbow pads, knee pads,
the helmet.
You made fun of
face
him.
guard. Yeah,
You made fun of that kid. I don't know why, but you
get
did.
crushed. You get crushed for wearing a helmet when I was a kid. Crushed. It surprised me. I feel like you missed out on a lot of your youth.
No, I didn't miss out.
He used to actually.
You barely survived.
He
yours.
liked to park his.
All right,
he liked to park
yeah,
your
nice,
bike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Here's a good one.
Very nice and neat.
Johnny says in the YouTube chat, Ben, did you ever scrape your knee as a kid?
Let me see these knees.
That's a simple question that I think 99.9% of adults.
Yeah, I mean, only when I would trip though, like on something and fall while I was walking.
There's another one. I think you just need moisturizer.
Yeah, I think it's just a little dry. A little dry on the knees.
Don't bike.
Got some good news for Woods, I think, here that I just saw on my X feed. We'll get to that coming up. Ben and Woods back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Adam just walked in and grabbed the Yu Darvish bobblehead and walked out. Didn't say one word. It was very weird.
It was odd. Good to see you too, buddy.
Good talking to you.
Is he like going to like burn it or
I
something?
have no idea.
Ritually
Like,
destroy it?
Hey,
after
I
last
get it.
night's
Like it was a
game?
bad start,
A
but
voodoo
settle
doll?
down, guy. It was just one bad start. Jeez.
Bunch of pins into it.
Yeah. Jeez. Down, buddy. What did you have that was going to make me happy?
I just saw that your San Diego Seals just re-signed their goaltender Frank Scigliano.
Frank the Tank Scigliano. Settle down.
Scigliano. There's a
Scigliano.
G in his name.
Yeah, there is. Scigliano.
Silent G?
Yep. Scigliano. Frank the Tank. He's got Dane Doby back. Cam Holding. Yeah, restocking.
When's the next season start?
It's a good question.
November?
It's a good question. Usually November, December.
Yeah.
My body is ready. I miss being out there. Somebody suggested this morning on the Ben and Woods Twitter feed. They said, you know how, Woodsy, you go down and you get the crowd pumped up for Seals games? He said, would you do that for the Padres? And I said, if they asked me, I 1,000% would get down there, and grab the mic. He said, I don't know, what if in the first inning or in the ninth, instead of the word on the big screen, let's make noise, and people start chanting, whatever, get up there and whip the crowd into a frenzy. My services are they're on the table. Eric Krupner, if you're listening, AJ Preller, whoever makes those decisions, I'd be happy to grab the mic and whip that place into a frenzy for you. I have lost my voice a number of times. Baseball's different. I get it.
I think Petco Park has been whipped into enough of a frenzy.
True.
It's not the fans who are not delivering this season.
But like, imagine me hyping them up for the ninth, Ben, out there running around, let's go, get on your feet. The hard part for me at the Seals games when I'm trying to get people on their feet and they don't stand and I stare right at them. I'm like, literally, you get on your feet, Ben. And he's like, I don't want to get on my feet. I want to sit here and watch. We're down a goal, up a goal, whatever. But I'm down to be a hype man. I have no problem doing it. I love doing it for the Seals. Excited for the season. It's so fun. The games are so fun. I get so into them. And I'm really looking forward to it. As far as I know, I'm coming back. They haven't told me otherwise.
All right, fantastic.
Yep.
Yesterday was the 40th sellout this season in Petco Park in 47 dates. I grew up going to Padres games, and I could probably count on maybe one or two hands the number of sellouts in like 20 years of going to games at Jack Murphy Stadium. I mean, occasionally, like maybe when the Beach Boys did a concert after a game, or there's like a KGB Sky show. I mean, that was about it. You get maybe one or two at most in a season selling out. Now, it was a bigger stadium and the team was much, much worse. You didn't have as many stars. So you didn't see that kind of support for the baseball team. Now, there's only been 7 games that haven't completely sold out. And those were all, I think, in the 35,000 range. I mean, the support for the San Diego Padres team has been incredible this season.
Massive, man. You see it everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you see somebody dressed head to toe in gear and when can I go to the ballpark, Dad, take me to a game, et cetera, et cetera. It is the fever pitch is not, if they were playing better baseball, this would be a truly magical season. I made the point earlier and I believe it. Padres are 10 games above 500 right now. Today, this moment on Ben and Woods, we're spending today's show, tomorrow's show, Thursday's show, Friday's show, talking about what we need to get Shohei Ohtani here, period. Even if it's a rental, if we're 10 games above 500, that's what was on the plate, on our plates and Padre fans' plates for this season, period. And you think about all the games that you should have won and you didn't. That's what we were sitting here talking about next 4 days.
I'll be totally honest. If you told me at the beginning of the season that they were 10 games above 500 right now, approaching the trade deadline, be kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
I'd actually go,
you would want,
really?
You think more.
That's it? What went wrong this year? That they're only 10 games above 500?
Yeah.
They're only, a couple of games into the wild card lead at this point. They're not 20, 25 games above 500, battling with the, maybe the Dodgers or the Braves for the best record in the National League or baseball. I would truly have been somewhat shocked and pretty disappointed if you had told me that the Padres were 58 and 40, what would it be? 55 and 45 right now through 100 games, or 56 and 45. I'd say that's not anywhere near as good as I expected this team to be when they came out of spring training. And here they are, 5 games under 500. It's beyond. It's confounding. That was the word Jesse used.
I used it earlier. Yeah,
it's confounding. It's inexplicable. It's baffling.
Disappointing.
Use whatever word you want. And we sit here for 4 hours and try to make sense of it every single day, and really haven't made any progress in the last 4 months of explaining what's wrong with the Padres. Like, would you have seen? Oh, well, I mean, obviously they'll be fine, but Darvish is going to
have a rough
have his worst start of the year yesterday. We can't figure it out from day to day. It's like it floats around and hits someone else on a given day. I mean, Juan Soto looks like a world beater one day and then, rolls over 4 times the next day. Manny Machado has the best month of the season, but struggles early in the year. Fernando Tatis Jr., looks good. Yesterday, though, nothing. 3 rollovers and a bad pop out when they needed a big at bat. It's weird how it seems to be a different person. Almost. I mean, Ha-Seong Kim has been probably the most consistent, steady player that they've had all season.
And he got off to a rough start too. So I mean,
he did.
But as of late, there's just not. Jake Cronenworth having a just horrendous year right now for him, and it's tough. It's tough.
Well, we'll come back and we'll look ahead to tonight's matchup. I don't think it's going to stun anyone that on paper, Padres look like they should have a big advantage in this game again tonight, as they have in each of their 4 meetings with the Pirates this year that have not gone well. But we will certainly look ahead to it. Coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Haven't taken any phone calls today, but if you want to get in our last segment and discuss any of the trade situations, the Padres struggles last night, you Darvish, you can give us a call right now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll look ahead. Matchup tonight against the veteran Rich Hill with Blake Snell on the mound after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a few things wrapping up our morning drive. Southbound 15, two-vehicle accident before Mira Mesa Boulevard. It's over the right shoulder. Watch out for some debris reported in middle lanes on westbound King Freeway before Massachusetts. Also some debris reported eastbound 8 right at the 5 connector. I'm Kelly Danick, Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, game 2 of the series tonight. We'll pit Rich Hill against Blake Snell at 6:40.
Win.
This is not going to shock you, but in his last 7 starts, Rich Hill has 1 victory. Came against the Padres. Now, he's given up, I think it was 4, 5, 3, 4, 3, 4, and 3 runs in the last 7 starts. Gave up 4 to the Padres in that game. They scored 9 and beat the Padres in Pittsburgh in that series. I think was that the Reese Kinnear game? I believe so. Might have been. So they will get another shot at Rich Hill tonight. Blake Snell, of course, is the best ERA in baseball. Until now, we've been saying, the best ERA since X, but now for starting pitchers, qualified starting pitchers, he literally has the best ERA in baseball. It's about 2 points lower than Rich Hill's. Once again, Padres should be massive favorites in this game. They are massive favorites in this game. But the Pirates have absolutely had their number. Padres are 0-4 against Pittsburgh this season with a negative 17 run differential against the Pirates. The only other team that has had that kind of success, the Padres are 1-5 against the Dodgers with a -9 run differential in those 6 games. So they're 1-9 against the Pirates and the Dodgers. Against every other team in baseball, they have a winning record and a +73 run differential. But otherwise, if it weren't for the Pirates and the Dodgers, Padres would be doing okay this year. But those 2 teams have pretty much been the only 2 that have dominated the Padres.
They wouldn't be doing okay if it wasn't just for the Dodgers and the Pirates. They still have lost all these games that they should have won,
That's
even
true.
with the run differential.
But they'd be right there, pretty much tied for the last wild card and in much better shape than they are, if not for the struggles against those 2 teams.
Because they lost to the Dodgers and the Pirates.
Yeah, they'd be okay. They wouldn't be dominating, but they'd be okay.
Speaking of the wild card, Ben, you look at what lays ahead for the Padres, and there's certainly some tough teams. Tankathon is a website that does the strength of schedule, and they calculate it on a day-by-day basis. The toughest remaining strength of schedule goes to the Miami Marlins. Benny, they got 61 games left. They still have to play 3 against the Braves, 4 against the Rays, 3 against the Rangers, 6 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Astros, and 7 against the Milwaukee Brewers.
And they're already struggling.
And they're struggling right now.
Right to be caught in a playoff chase.
Listed in their easiest opponents, the San Diego Padres, they will have 3 with them. The Mets, 6 with the Mets, 3 with the Tigers, 3 with the Pirates, 7 with the Nationals. A couple other teams above the San Diego Padres hunting a wild card. The Mets have a little bit harder schedule than the Padres. They come in at 8th with a 514 strength of schedule. The Giants 510 strength of schedule. The Padres sit right in the middle, basically 14th with a 503 strength of schedule percentage left. The toughest teams remaining: 3 against the Orioles, 3 against the Rangers, 7 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Astros, 3 against the Brewers, and 7 with the Giants. The quote-unquote easiest remaining teams the Padres have faced: 3 against the A's, 6 against the Rockies, 3 against the White Sox, 2 more against the Pirates, and 6 against St. Louis.
I'm more worried about the 6 against the Rockies and the 2 left against the Pirates, though, than against the good teams. That's what it's been with this Padres team.
That A's series is going to make me vomit.
It's definitely more about the Padres than who they're playing.
Yeah,
I feel like the Padres, if they play like they're capable of, doesn't really matter too much who they're facing. For other teams, though, like that Marlins stat, man, I'd be worried if I was in Skip Schumacher's shoes right now, because your team's already struggling, and now you've got a tough schedule coming up with a lot of games against the Braves. Still, that's not going to be easy for them to hold on to a wild card spot.
But if you're Skip Schumacher, then you just take your shirt off and look at yourself in the mirror, and you're fine. You feel fine about where your team is.
And I like the fact that the Padres play the Giants a bunch. I mean, They've had some success against the Giants already this year. The Giants are scuffling. That's a way to directly catch up games against teams that you have to
worked
face.
us last time, though. 3 in a row.
Yeah, but they should have won some of those games. They swept them in Mexico City.
Don't count.
Earlier this year. Well, I like being able to go head to head as much as possible against the teams that are ahead of you. You'd rather do that
all day
than
it's in your hands.
Not get a chance to play those teams.
It's in your hands, and
then if you don't get it done,
it's on you.
You don't blame anyone else.
Oh man, the chips just didn't fall where they should have at the end of the season. Like it's inevitably, if they don't make the playoffs, it's all going to be on the players. I mean, it's all going to be on them. They had many an opportunity to get it done. But hey, listen, got to win tonight to go on any sort of a run.
Of course,
broken.
I mean, if you lose tonight, if you lose 3 straight Musgrove, Darvish, and Snell starts against the Tigers and the Pirates, what are we all doing here?
CBS Sports Radio. That's what we're doing tomorrow. I hope you guys want to hear what the Chiefs are doing to bolster their defensive line, because that's what you're going to hear tomorrow if they freaking lose tonight. I'll come sit in silence. I'm here so I don't get fined. I will protest. We will sit and we will do a 4-hour thinking show. Paulie will play some soothing music and we will think about our actions for 4 hours. You dare me? Just soothing spa music in the back. Ben just bravely and admirably trying to push through it.
He couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
No. How long could he make it?
He would 1 segment, and then
30?
he would.
I don't even think
you couldn't make it either.
Me?
Yeah. You'd be thinking about our audience too much.
I don't think our audience would change the channel all day. You want to keep them for 4 hours? Do that show. Give me some soothing music, Paulie. And can you imagine we just come in, the intro music plays for a Wednesday, and then it's just like, hey, listen, it's Woodsy. I will say this out of the chute. We've done a disservice. We've been hyping this team up, and we're giving you guys chances. And for the rest of the show, just going to sit, reflect, meditate, and think about what we've done. We encourage you to join us. It starts now. This is just a bit, but I could do it. You better not lose. Ben's dead. He just fell dead asleep for a moment. It's good fun. I think it'd be a good fun show, don't you? Do you think so? You look good. Beautiful song, Paulie. I want this at my funeral. I've just decided. As Ben, you're giving the speech, I want this in the background. What is this? I don't know.
All right, you've brought me back with that thought of delivering your eulogy.
Yeah, you have to.
I win.
You have to do it.
It lasted the longest.
This is a beautiful funeral.
We've gathered here today to remember the life of Stephen Lee Woods. Taken too soon.
Some would argue.
Brain aneurysm while watching a baseball game.
Full meltdown. Just lost it. Jumped out of a window. It's very tragic. Somebody was trying to steal a base down 4 runs. 7th inning.
Woods, or Woodsy as some of us knew him, lived a passionate life. I'll have to work on it. Yeah. I'm not ready yet to deliver your eulogy. You almost died the first week of our show. I remember that. Wasn't it like within like the first 2 weeks of our show?
I think I had like swine flu from
you were like on death's door and still showing up to work because
horrific.
Who wants to miss one of like their 4th show ever at a new station on a new show?
And the management's going, this is the guy we hired. And I'm like sitting there. We had just got back from our honeymoon and we're on the the plane. And I go, I do not feel good. We landed whenever we landed. I had a baseball doubleheader that day on Sunday, and we started the show on Monday. So I get out to the field and, take some things to get me ready to go. And
you're thinking jet lag.
And I'm like, just jet lag. Went out and played 2 games. We won both games, feeling great. By the time that last out was recorded, I was like, I don't think I could drive home. And the first day of the show, I went in. I was like, you guys, I'm sicker than a dog. And I think I did have to. I was like on a Monday, and I think Friday I was out.
By Friday I was
out.
You just couldn't show up anymore. You just kept deteriorating each day.
Ben's like,
getting worse.
Is this guy? What's this guy doing? Is he on crystal meth? Like
5.5 years, we've been on 2 radio stations, and you've gotten deathly ill at the very beginning of week one of both stations.
Both stations.
So,
it's like a thing.
Look. Contract year.
Yeah, it's contract year.
Should we end up somewhere else?
Yeah.
I'll bet everything I have.
I'll get sick.
Wood's getting sick.
Doesn't matter where.
Like damn near need to be rushed to the hospital sick within 7 days
No question.
of us taking
You can set your watch to it. It just is a weird. It's like the release of all the stress of getting a new gig and starting a new thing and doing all the stuff you have to do. But yeah, you could set your watch to it. If we went somewhere else in 6 months or 5 months. You could absolutely.
I had the opposite problem. I often get sick as soon as I go on vacation, which is bad as often as I go on vacation.
You're sick a lot.
Yeah, I let down as soon as work's over, and then I get sick on vacation. It happens fairly regularly, but
that sucks so much, dude.
It's happened many times in my life.
The worst thing I've ever
I
heard.
grind through 9 straight days of work. All right, I'm off for the next 3 days.
all the poor locals in Hawaii every 3 months are like, oh, here
and
comes
then I start
Sneezy.
feeling better just in time to go back to work again.
What was that music, Paul?
I don't know.
You just Google something.
Generic, non-copyrighted, soothing music.
Yeah, it was so
piano
soothing.
music.
It really was. It was very soothing.
Did you mention there was some breaking college football news?
Oh, Jim Harbaugh. I did not.
Yeah, we have not reported that one yet. Where did you see that one?
It was
because
all over social media.
Don't have it yet on my ESPN feed, but
at a search bar, you can just type in
Jim Harbaugh trending, and that is
Yahoo
because
Sports, Ross Dellinger has sources. Michigan's Jim Harbaugh, NCAA working toward 4-game suspension over recruiting investigation.
Interesting.
Penalties-
4-game suspension.
Penalties stemming from alleged false statements he originally made to investigators.
Wow.
Ooh, he tried to mislead the NCAA cops.
How will
essentially.
they-
The cover up worse than the crime?
How will they ever beat the likes of ECU, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers? I just don't know how they will do it without the steady hand of Jim Harbaugh. He's like, F yes. Great. I don't have to coach those games. Perfect. I'll see you guys when it counts.
Wishing he took one of those NFL jobs, perhaps, when it was being bandied about at the end of last season, but instead he sticks around at Michigan, and the first thing happens, he gets levied with a 4-game suspension, it looks like, coming up to start this upcoming season.
They should. I mean, yeah, look, again, East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers. I think they'll be fine. I'm going to go on record now and say that the Michigan Wolverines will be a robust 4-0 upon his
I mean,
return.
coming off a 13-1 season, this is, Michigan is a school that always had trouble getting past Ohio State, winning the big game, finally get past them last year, and now they're starting this season under a cloud, though. I mean, this is going to certainly impact the program. Whether or not it impacts those games against some lesser opponents, I kind of tend to agree with you, Woods. That'd probably be fine. But what's the long-term impact when now, Jim Harbaugh is lumped in with all the other cheating college football coaches out there?
None. There's none
at all?
Nothing whatsoever. I mean, bro, come on. Look at some of the people still getting jobs in college football. Bobby Petrino has a job in college football, albeit as an assistant. But I mean, there's really not Ben. By the way, if Urban Meyer came out today and said, I've been getting the itch to coach again, you know how many offers he'd have? 100 offers. As bad as he was in Jacksonville, the things that have happened under his watch, that dude would get his phone would ring off the hook. If he goes, I just got the itch again.
This is essentially like getting a traffic ticket, misdemeanor, but then lying under oath about it. That's the real crime. Harbaugh's alleged initial cover-up was worse than the crime itself from the NCAA perspective.
Was this the cheeseburger incident?
It says in a notice of allegations sent to Michigan last year, the association cited 4 level 2 violations, including meeting with 2 recruits during a COVID-19 dead period, texting a recruit outside of an allowable time period, and having analysts perform on-field coaching duties during practice, having coaches watch players work out via Zoom. So kind of some minor low-level infractions, but the NCAA considers lying to investigators a level 1 violation, the most serious on the organization's scale, could carry up to a 6-game suspension along with significant recruiting restrictions, according to NCAA statutes.
Like I tell my 5-year-old all the time, I know you did it. You know that I know you did it. You know that. Don't look me in the eye and lie to me. If you say, Dad, I did this, I'm going to go, all right, man, be more careful. If you lie to me and I know you're lying, you're toast. You're toast. You're absolutely cooked if you do it. So, yeah, I mean, Jim Harbaugh, none of those things are massively egregious, even if it got out. You know what I mean? Like if it got out and you took it's a slap on the wrist if you don't lie.
Maybe he should have said that, yes, I committed the recruiting violations, but I was having a dog emergency, so I had to, which was the excuse given.
That's a good one.
We had our don't do this the other day. Jordan Addison, the Vikings receiver out of USC, who was driving 140 in a 55, says, yes, I was, but I had a dog emergency at home. Now, he was driving 140 at 3 a.m. in a Lamborghini, apparently to get home because of the dog emergency.
How did he know?
He also promised to not repeat the behavior, but did not say anything about his dog's emergency, what exactly it was that required him to drive 140 to make it home.
I was watching on the ring cam, saw his dog sick.
Rufus was throwing up.
Rufus.
Right.
Gotta get home.
The extra, 5 minutes that you saved by endangering everybody's life.
Everyone says that, but you only save about 3 minutes. I mean, I drive fast. I don't drive 140, that's for sure. But I don't know. It feels like the old. I know it's probably accurate. I'm only going to get there 1 to 2 minutes earlier. Doesn't really slow me down though.
I mean, what dog emergencies happen at 3 a.m.? Most dogs are asleep at 3 a.m.
Not necessarily. Gets in some chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
That's
true.
Maybe his girlfriend called and said, hey, he's sick. You need to get home. He's like, all right.
But if the girlfriend's there, wouldn't you just say, well, you need to do this then? I don't need to drive home at 100. Guess you have to drive home at 145, 140.
I mean, it's a good excuse as far as excuses go. I'll tell you what, if you guys like that NFL and college football talk, get used to it if Padres lose tonight, because that's what we're diving headlong tomorrow. Headlong. NFL previews, the whole
bit.
bit.
Black tomorrow again?
Yeah. The NFL previews, we'll do the whole thing. Better not.
Blake, we're counting on
What's
you tonight.
worse, NFL previews all day or sitting in silence for 4 hours?
I think I'd prefer the sitting in silence at this point.
Not even close.
We're a little early for NFL previews.
A lot of moves to talk about.
All right. Thanks again to the two Jessies, Jesse Rogers and Jesse Agler, who both joined us today on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Be listening for Jesse to work the word triskaidekaphobia.
Oh, my God.
Fear of the number 13 somewhere into tonight's Padres Pirates
Paulie, will you
broadcast.
text him that word if you haven't already?
I will.
Just to remind him. He'll get it in. No problem. Sometime when Manny Machado's up, I'm almost sure.
Guaranteed.
We will be back tomorrow morning at Adam Jones Wednesday on Ben and Woods. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Coach coming up next right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.